We haven't had this, or the club haven't had this for a number of years. We've been winning titles.
Bring it on, I say, John.
Yes,
bring it on.
But it's a test now for everybody. All the players, all the staff, supporters are edgy now that Rangers are up next to them. But you've got to deal with it. And they've proved in the last few years, they've proved when it comes to the push, they've got another little gear to go to, and they've won the big games.
Can I come in this? Almost pressure helps, I think, players to develop. You know what I mean? As a part of the game that you can't hide from. And if you're a winner, you should be under pressure all the time to perform and be at a club of a stature as Celtic. And I think that's probably in many ways missing from Celtic over the years. It was great, lovely, brilliant, great play, but then they go into Europe and they can't handle that when things come against them. So absolutely deal with the pressure, builds a player's mentality, and you have to stand up and be counted now.
Richard, looking for a little positive for Celtic, I'm going to mention a player that we haven't spoke about, and nobody seems. Scales. He's been outstanding for Celtic. He's came from nowhere. They talk about having big signings. Fans want to see money being spent. Here's a young player who went out on loan. He's come back, and Brendan's popped him in the team, and he's playing week in, week out.
Irish mentality, John. Sorry to say.
His distribution from the back has been excellent.
See Roger smiling.
It's a shame he's Irish. Bloody hell, poor guy.
I mean, clearly, he's improved after his spell at Aberdeen, where he had to do a lot of defending. That's obviously helped him.
The pressure
That's helped him. No, he's been brilliant this season. I mean, it is amazing when you think the Celtic have won both the games against Rangers this season, and yet the teams are tied up. And indeed, a 2-0 win or a 2-goal win for Hibernian would see Rangers move top of the table this evening. That would be a bit of a dream, you'd imagine, for Nick Montgomery, the Hibs boss, with Brian.
Well, Nick, was there ever any doubt you were going to bring Lewis and Martin back into the starting 11?
No doubt. They came back a few days ago. You know, it's been no shying away. It's been a difficult period since the international window. We lost 4 players that night from the starting team, including Josh Campbell on a long-term injury. So you want your best players available, and it's great to have them 2 back tonight.
How sore was Saturday, and how long does it take to recover from something like that?
That was Saturday. It's gone. You know, we dealt with it and we moved on. Yeah, it wasn't a nice result at home, but yeah, it's gone now, and the full focus has been on the challenge ahead tonight against a good Celtic team. And the players you brought in, you made 4 changes tonight. Talk us through the reasons for that, apart from obviously the 2 Australian lads coming back in. Yeah, look, Emiliano, I got a bad kick on his foot on the weekend, a little bit swollen. So yeah, we decided not to force it tonight. Lewis and Martin come back into the team, and Nathan Mariah as well. She's a player that I brought in. You know, I've really like his energy, and I thought second half he gave us that energy, and we've sort of been lacking in that department this season, really, in personnel with so many long-term injuries, and Jake Dollar-Hayes has been missing all season, so we've lacked that little bit of bite in midfield. So he'll come in tonight, and I'm really looking forward to him making his starting debut. It's been a long time since you won here at Easter Road. Do you need to be reminded about that? Not really. Obviously we had a good run, and my first defeat was against Hearts, 94th minute, and that was a real painful one. And since then we've had the international window, you know, a good Rangers team, and a difficult performance on the weekend. But tonight's a good opportunity against a top quality opposition. Are Celtic frail at the moment? You're obviously watching a game against Aberdeen, particularly the second half. They looked a little bit frail. Look, I think if anyone watched that game the first half, it probably should have been out of sight. You know, second half, as the game stretches, you know, the opposition will always get chances if you don't punish them. But yeah, you've only got to look at the starting team and the bench tonight. I don't think frail's a word that you can really use with Celtic. Yeah, they're very strong in the bench, aren't they? Yeah, they've got a fantastic squad. That's what you get with a huge budget, and yeah, they've got some top quality players. And in terms of the supporters tonight, the atmosphere here is electric. I know it was 0-0 earlier on this season. You could have won the game late on as well. What would a win do tonight, do you think, to galvanise us between now and the rest of the season? Yeah, a win is what we'd love to have tonight in front of our home fans in a big fixture. So yeah, you know, it's been a frustrating couple of weeks, but like I said, there's been factors involved in that, and I can't control them and not making excuses. But yeah, it'd be amazing to get a result tonight against a top team and in a full crowd. And finally, I don't know if you've heard the news or not, Derek Adams has just gone after 12 games in charge at Ross County. An indication of just how this game, as football management, and how it can go, isn't it? Yeah, it's a brutal game, and yeah, it's obviously that happens in football. Yeah, you do it because you love it, and it's passionate, and I love the passion of the fans here, and how they want to win every game, and yeah, that's what you want to do as a manager, and nights like this, and yeah, that's what it's all about. Appreciate the time, Nick. Good luck. Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, Nick Montgomery with Brian look desperately in need of a victory. They've lost the last 2 home games, each by 3-0 to St Mirren, and before then to Rangers. At Celtic in the capital this evening. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. It's now going to be an 8:15 kickoff in Paisley. St Mirren against Dundee. We can get just some brief reaction to that, the delays. It is Tony Docherty, the Dundee boss, has been chatting with Martin Dowden.
Tony, firstly, the delay, is that just one of those things that's unavoidable?
Absolutely. You know, we left the hotel at 22 and we've been stuck in traffic for an hour and a half there. There was a crash or something. So, listen, it's happened before, it'll happen again. It happened to us earlier on the season at Rangers, and there was a longer delay, a much longer delay. So, we've agreed with Robbo, myself, the kick-off's 8:15 now. So, it's game on and let's get on with it.
You're in a very good place. Obviously, you lost at Tynecastle, but great result. What are you looking for to just kick on and get even more great results?
Yeah, listen, we are. You're right. The level of performance I thought against Hearts was fantastic, and the level of performance has been consistently good. And I'm hoping that we can do the same tonight, but convert that level of performance into points, and that's the sole intention tonight.
You're sitting in the top 6 as things stand. Long way to go, of course, but would a win here give you more belief that this is something that's achievable?
Listen, I'm very much game to game at the moment, and the most important thing tonight is a game against St Mirren. Difficult opponent who have just on the back of a great result away from home against Hibs, and we know it's going to be a difficult task, but you know, that's the task we're facing, and it's the most important thing, and that's what we'll focus on now.
They really have been a joy to watch for most of the season. Dundee back-to-back, well, not quite back-to-back, a couple of games in between, but losing successive matches against Hearts, each by 3-2, each of course after being in command and in front of the games. They're playing some really good football. Be fascinating to see how that one turns out this evening. St Mirren against Dundee. It will be an 8:15 kickoff after the Dundee team coach got held up in traffic. We can get the thoughts ahead of the game of the St Mirren boss, Stephen Robinson.
Stephen, firstly, briefly, your thoughts on the delay and how that came about?
These things happen, don't they? Listen, you can't preempt accidents in traffic, so we've come to agreement just to delay it a little bit, to be fair with both parties.
You're in a very good place. Would a win tonight start to make you believe that you can get to a great one?
Yeah, look, a terrific performance. I think, you know, we've, out of the last 9 games, we've won 4, lost 4, so we've got a 50% win record, so it's about trying to get that consistency. We need to follow up the performance on Saturday, otherwise it goes to waste, you know, and we've done the simple things extremely well. We played a brilliant brand of football, and we have to reproduce that again against the Dundee side, who have done very, very well since they come up. They've signed really well, and I think Tony's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, St Mirren, another of the sides well placed in the top half of the table, and of course they were here at Easter Road with that excellent victory at the weekend. 3-0 it was then. St Mirren against Dundee, 8:15. Here, our live commentary, 8 o'clock kickoff at Easter Road. Hibernian against Celtic. The two 7:45 matches are up and running. Let's go first to Rugby Park. Kilmarnock against Livingston. Lee McCulloch, what's been happening early stages?
Hi Richard, not a lot to be brutally honest. Livingston sitting in a lower block going direct, even throw-ins are going into the box. They've managed to get a corner from going direct, but Kilmarnock really dominant at the start of the game, just passing the ball about the back. What I've noticed is Greg Stewart is floating all over the pitch. They've set up a sort of 4-4-2, but sometimes he's going up front, he's going to the right, he's coming to the left, so he's sort of got a free roll. But no real incidents yet, and I hope that changes.
Yeah, they are such a strong, so many options, don't they, in terms of their front line right now. Kevin Van Veen waiting on the bench, the second top scorer in the Scottish Premiership last season. He's waiting on the bench for his turn to start the game. So that's Kilmarnock against Livingston. St Johnstone against Hearts also up and running. Callum?
Yeah, probably very similar to Lee. I think St Johnstone have set their stall out here, really defend a low block, allowing Hearts to sort of dominate the ball. The Hearts have moved around, they're probing away. They've got in behind once or twice down the left-hand side with Forrest and Cochrane. I think really important setup today is how does St Johnstone defend this, and again Hearts, how do the wide players, Fraser, you know, Forrest and Vargas, how do they get on trying to break this sort of loads of bodies in behind the ball, working really hard. St Johnstone try to sort of limit them to any kind of real space, and then obviously they're going to try and probably hit them on the counter-attack. It looks like after the first 9 minutes it's probably how the game's going to sort of unfold.
Just give me your thoughts, Callum, on Hearts. I mean, as we touched on following Craig's comments there, Craig Levine's comments, they are the form team in the top flight right now. It's 8 wins and a draw in the last 9 league and cup matches. Did you see them having the potential to put together this kind of run?
Yeah, I did. I think you look at the size of their squad, you look at the bench tonight, they've got a really strong bench. You know, they've got players probably last season who were probably starters for them. So I think with that, I think when you manage to keep Lawrence Shankland, I know we always talk about it, but he is their talisman. He's the man that gets them results. You know, they've got that sort of more settled team. You know, they've got players back from long-term injury. You've got guys like Forrest coming on to form. You've got good players in the wide areas that can create an attack, and they just managed. He obviously took his formation from a 3 to a 4, so you can do both. So again, I think it's great to see them up there. You know, I think you want these kind of teams up there challenging, putting pressure on the 2 teams above them. But you know, it's a great sort of run Hearts have had.
Should anything happen either at Rugby Park or at McDermott Park, Lee or Callum will let us know. So we will bring it to you right away, and we'll have regular updates from those two, and from Rory, who's at Paisley, but he's got his feet up at the moment, waiting for the action to get up and running. It won't do so until about 8:15 after the Dundee team bus were delayed. So we here at Easter Road, just 3 or 4 minutes away from the game getting up and running. We're talking about the fact that we have got a title race right now. It is going to be a little bit of pressure that, well, certainly the Celtic players haven't faced in the last couple of seasons. And I guess, Pat, as a manager, you learn a lot about your players under a situation like this.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. And from that perspective, this is a big night for both these clubs and both these managers. But Brendan also will be looking for a reaction tonight, a performance, you know, and that then will settle the nerves a little bit from everybody concerned. But if it doesn't happen, then there will be definitely questions asked from that perspective, because no club wants to see your biggest rivals jump above you in a league from that perspective. So, yeah, big night, and they'll have to put a performance in. And with that, obviously, change up front, those 3, he'll be looking for reaction, especially in that part of the pitch tonight. And can players then supply, especially from the wide areas, which Celtic tend to go to, can they supply good quality ball into the box for Adam Ida, who can maybe get on and get his first goal for this club.
We're just waiting for the teams to emerge here. Just a word, we didn't really get a chance to touch on it earlier on, talking about the fact that we do have a title race. John, what are you making of Rangers right now, what the job Clement's doing, and do you look at them and think, yeah, they could well be the champions come the end of the season?
I think Philippe Clement is doing a terrific job. I think he speaks ever so well. I've said it before, he speaks with authority. He's got the Rangers playing good football on the front foot. He's got them pressing. Everybody's working hard. I was saying the other day, taking Cantwell off, for example, in the first half in the big game because he wasn't following tactical instructions. I think that's great man management. Sends a message to every single player in that dressing room. You cannot take your position for granted. If you don't do what the manager says, you're out of the team. So he's got a reaction, and he's got performances. They're scoring goals. They haven't conceded too many. They're on a terrific run. It's going to be a terrific running, I think.
It is going to be absolutely gripping, you'd imagine, over the next few months. Celtic simply have to go out. The teams, of course, have played the same number of games now, so Celtic have to get out. They need to try to set a marker down tonight. They need to try to get the win. They need to try to open up that gap again. But it could well be a fascinating, an absolutely fascinating few months. The stadium off to our right, the away stand there, now barely you can see a single supporter because of all the players that are being let off, and that stand is now just full of smoke. Well, hopefully it's no one is going to be injured in there, despite what's going on. And it would appear that the smoke is lifting up and going to head out of the stadium rather than across the pitch. Got to say, a lot of gaps among the home supports this evening. That is an indication of just how much they are hurting right now, the way that Hibernian have been playing. We will keep you right up to date on Kilmarnock, Livingston, St Johnstone, Hearts, and when it gets up and running, St Mirren against Dundee. but it is time for full live commentary here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Hibernian against Celtic, about to get up and running with Pat Bonner, John Collins and Al Lamont.
Thanks very much, Richard. The green half of Edinburgh welcome their Glasgow counterparts for what promises to be a fascinating encounter in Leith this evening. Just 2 points from 18 for the home side as Celtic look to restore a bit of daylight at the top of the table at a ground where Brendan Rodgers, curiously enough, has yet to win in the league. He does have a League Cup victory to his name during his first stint, but the 0-0 earlier in the season continued that run in the league, albeit when Hibs travelled to Celtic Park in December, they were on the wrong end of a 4-1 thumping. Celtic all in black this evening, just coming out of their huddle as Joe Hart makes his way towards the goal that behind which the Celtic supporters sit and stand, and the smoke just dissipating in the Leith air as Hibs in their traditional green and white prepare to welcome Celtic, who will kick us off this evening, going from right to left as we look at it from high up in the main stand here. Nick Walsh, the referee, gets us underway, and immediately Alessandro Bernabé plays it back to Liam Scales, and now it's with Stephen Welsh back in the starting lineup. Came on for Nawrocki at Pittodrie when Nawrocki was in danger of being sent off, and here's an early touch for Daisen Maida on that left hand side. Back with Scales, and everyone apart from Joe Hart already inside that Hibs half of the field. Scales once more tries to clip it through the middle, fishes in the way. McGregor though gets it to Bernardo. Bernabé well advanced, but he's well challenged by one of the new boys, Nathan Mariah Welsh. His first start for the club, having made his debut as a half-time substitute in the very disappointing 3-0 defeat by St Mirren. By all accounts, Hibs were absolutely abject in that encounter, and as Richard says, some of the home fans have decided not to bother turning up tonight by the looks of the stand so far. Here's Maida left hand side as Celtic enjoy all the early possession, linking with Bernabé. Maida just trying to come away from Lewis Miller, who enjoyed, or rather endured, a torrid time out of the Asian Cup. Here comes Nicholas Kuhn on his first Celtic start, back to Liam Scales, 30 yards from goal, just slips it to Bernabé. His pass is just behind Maida, but he'll go and retrieve it down at the corner flag on the left hand side. Hibs can't get near the ball just for the moment. It's the Argentine Bernabé, back to Scales. Now Welsh, short ball for McGregor, about 35 yards out. Scales now tries to slide it through for Maida, breaks back the way to Bernardo. It's all Celtic in the opening exchanges. Welsh clips it through straight into the arms of Marshall, and at last a touch of the ball for a Hibs player, Packy, but it was good patience from Celtic. Ultimately didn't materialise any particular clear-cut chance, but good football from them in the opening couple of minutes.
Yeah, all players getting a touch of the ball, moving the ball nice and sharp. Hibs give it away.
Yeah, right on the edge of the penalty area, Bernardo, and it's Eid on the right hand side, and Newell has to play it behind for a corner kick, and it was early slackness, John Collins, from the Hibernian defence.
Yes, I think it was Triantis, left central defenders, picked up, he's played a ball centrally, poor ball, instantly you know what Celtic are going to be, they're going to be on top of you, looking for interceptions, poor from Hibs.
Corner kick, right hand side, to be taken by Matt O'Reilly, 2.5 minutes in, and already Hibs are on the back foot as O'Reilly sends it deep. It was Liam Scales who got his head to it, but Celtic forced out to the left hand side. Bernardo picks up, gives it back to Bernabé, tries to turn away from Obita, and he's fouled by his opposite number, the opposing left back, on the left hand side for Celtic, and there will be a free kick, and Nick Walsh wants a word with Obita.
Yeah, there wasn't much in it. It was just a block, really, as maybe his hands were a little bit high and caught Bernabé on the face, but he's back up and he's walking, so there's nothing really to it. It's a free kick for Celtic, which is important that they get the first set piece right, get it into that area where between the goalkeeper and that back line, put a bit of pressure on Hibs.
Matt O'Reilly over this free kick, left hand side, just a few yards in from the left touchline, about 20 yards from the goal line. Celtic with plenty of bodies in and around that penalty area. Can Matt O'Reilly pick one of them out? Scales is the target at the back post, heads it back in towards the 6-yard box. Johnstone gets something on it, takes a big knock in the head there. It's a penalty kick. Nick Walsh is given a penalty for the clash of heads. I'm sure it's what he's pointed for, and there's some concern there for Alistair Johnstone. But it did look like he got to the ball first and then was caught by the Hibs player, and Nick Walsh took a moment or two to think about it.
Well, from here it looked like he mistimed it completely and headed the Celtic player. It'll be interesting to see what VAR does, but from here it looked like it was a penalty.
I'm not 100% sure in that one.
Brian's had a look at the replay already, Packy. Let's hear from Brian.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a penalty either. It's an accidental clash of heads. Nectarius Triantis has gone up. He's tried to head the ball. His head has caught the side of Alistair Johnston's face, and I'm not convinced. There's no arms up at all. It's a clear clash of heads, and for me, I think that's just an accident. And I think if Nick's asked by the VAR tonight, who's Andrew Dallas, to come over, then I think he'll be changing his mind about that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because if I was a goalkeeper and my centre half was going, I would want him to go for that, John. You can't pull out of it. You've got to go. And Alistair Johnston's come up underneath him and sort of almost got to the ball first. You can't pull back at that instance. That's what I would see from that perspective. Different if he had his elbow up or if he's caught him in the face or something like that there. But when two heads clash, somebody's got to get to the ball first.
There's no doubt it's unintentional. He's went for the ball, but the problem he's got is he's missed the ball and he's hit the head. So if it's a tackle,
did he miss it, or did Alistair Johnstone get to the ball first?
Alistair Johnstone, I think, has headed the ball. Brian will tell us.
Yeah, I think that's what happened, John. But if Triantis has caught him late, then regardless of whether it's an accidental clash of heads, Nick Walsh is within his rights to point to the spot. So obviously Brian's had the luxury of a replay again. Brian, you want to add anything further?
I think it's just a clash of heads. I think it's just an accident. Yeah, it may have been very slightly late. Alistair Johnston has undoubtedly headed the ball, but for me it's just an accidental clash of heads. I think there is a fear now that Alistair Johnston may not be able to continue. I think Brendan Rodgers already turning to the bench. We'll find out who it is shortly. Indeed, I'm having to move here, Alistair, because they're now asking for the stretcher to come on.
Yeah, there's no...
And yeah, it looks like Tony Ralston's already being stripped and he's going to be coming on for Alistair Johnston. What we played 6 minutes. He's been down on the ground for a couple of minutes. Celtic are going to have to make a change, and we're still to wait and see whether Nick Walsh will be coming over to have a look at the screen.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Alistair Johnstone has come out worse, as we can see, and he got to the ball first before the centre half. My question is, was there intent there?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if someone accidentally catches you with a foot in the penalty area, it's still a penalty. So the fact that it's his head that's caught him accidentally doesn't make any difference, does it?
Well, actually it does, because the head's more dangerous hitting a head.
Yeah. So it's immaterial in terms of whether it's a foul or not. Anyway, our main concern here actually is Alistair Johnston's welfare, because he's still prone inside the penalty area.
Looking good.
It's not looking good. No, and he's had head knocks before, obviously going in bravely there, and Nectar Triantis waiting on the far side to come back on, but it looks like he's conceded a penalty. We've been stopped here for 3 minutes since the penalty award was made, but Celtic look like they're going to have a good opportunity to move in front in these early moments.
Yeah, there is no doubt that he's been caught badly, because he's obviously it looks as if he has to go off, which is a real shame for the young man. And when you get a head knock, you know, I've been lucky that I can use my arms not during my career, but when you have to go up without any arms to protect you, and you stick your head in there, that's a dangerous one. Obviously the penalty has come because the referee deemed it dangerous play. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, if you go for a header and the opponent headers the ball and you header him, just because you've slightly missed time, it's a free kick. It's no matter what you say. If it's no doubt it wasn't meant, but he's caught him badly.
Yeah, well, Alistair Johnston is now on the stretcher and is being taken from the field of play, and we certainly wish him well and hope that is not a serious injury, but he's certainly going to have to be replaced by Anthony Ralston, as Brian said, in these opening stages. And it looks like Adam Ida is going to take this penalty kick I mean, you would imagine if there's going to be a VAR check for this, or a VAR, for Nick Wilkes to be asked to come across the screen, it would have happened by now. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely, no, it's not going to happen. It's a big moment for Adam Ida, to be honest. It's an opportunity to break his duck and get off to Celtic career off to the right.
This is a brilliant opportunity from early in the game, exactly what he'll be wanting.
Yeah, but it's brave as well, isn't it? Stepping up. Luis Palma's been on penalties of late, but he missed a couple against Ross County and is on the bench in any case. So Ida has taken the ball and he's up against David Marshall, who knows a thing or two about saving penalties. But it will be Adam Ida to try to break the deadlock here in the 10th minute at Easter Road. We've had a big, long wait after the injury to Alistair Johnstone, but it's Ida. Just skips to his left, steps up, sends David Marshall the wrong way, and Celtic in front. And Adam Ida with a first Celtic goal on his first Celtic start. It's Hibernian 0, Celtic 1.
Cool, calm and collected. Bottom corner, keeper no chance. Excellent penalty.
Perfect start for the young man, delighted for him. And that will settle him down, that will give him the confidence. And can he build on that now from point? Obviously a free hit, the penalty, but that doesn't really matter. You have to have nerves, you have to be able to step up. This is a big club, a young man coming up here in front of the opposing fans, obviously with all the other fans, his own fans away to the other side, but he was, as John says, cool and collected.
Well, it's an ideal start for Celtic, barring the injury to Alistair Johnstone. It's a dreadful start to the evening for Hibernian, who would have looked to try and get a foothold in the game and just try and play their way into it, but as it is, they're looking to come from a goal down. But here's Martin Boyle, about 30 yards from the Celtic goal, plays out to the left-hand side to Abita. And now Ewan picking up left-hand side, challenged by Ralston on as a substitute for the injured Alistair Johnstone. Newell back over the halfway line. Triantis will have to try and recover. By all accounts, he got a pretty torrid time from the St Mirren strikers at the weekend, and he's already given away a penalty in the early stages here as Hibernian win the free kick. Joe Newell picks up from Will Fish and plays out to the left-hand side looking for Abita, but Ralston's first to it. And turning there is Kuhn. He's fouled by Ewan right on the halfway line. It'll be a Celtic free kick.
Yeah, it's consistency from the referee there, because I didn't think the foul by Adam Ida was a foul in the first instance, and then in that particular situation there, Johan giving away a very similar foul, and the referee pulling both of them up.
Here's Maida, left-hand side for Celtic, already looking for a second goal. Maida, who played and started in that quarter-final defeat by Iran on Saturday at the Asian Cup. Bit of a shock result, that one of a number at the competition, as Kuhn just tries to play it down the line for Ralston, but just misjudges it. It's out for a throw into Hibernian down near their own corner flag, left-hand side. We've played 12 minutes here, or at least there's 12 minutes on the clock. There was a 5-minute stoppage there as Alistair Johnstone received treatment, so there'll be a lengthy bit of stoppage time at the end of this first period. No goals elsewhere in the Premiership this evening. We'll cross to the other grounds as and when there's anything to report. I guess the St Mirren Dundee game will be just about to get underway after a half-hour delay because of the Dundee team bus being held up in traffic on its way to Paisley.
So that says, what, 10 minutes into the game, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Hibs, the way they're dropping off Celtic at home. They're dropping, the whole lot's dropping 25 yards backwards from the edge of their box, dropping off, making it so easy for Celtic. Hibs are at home here with a home support. You've got to get up and in Celtic's faces, make it difficult for them. I know they're a good team, but if you stand off good players, they become very good players, and they're making it far too easy for Celtic.
John Collins, who graced the jerseys of both these sides once upon a time,
a few years ago.
Lewis Miller takes the throw in back to Will Fish, and he goes all the way back to David Marshall, already beaten by Adam Ida, who took his spot kick very confidently, having made the move from Norwich in January. Venter can't hold the ball up, and McGregor picks up on the halfway line, slips it through to Maida, back to Bernardo, and Maida once more. Across comes Fish, good challenge from the on loan Man United centre back, and Celtic will have the throw in, quickly taken by McGregor. Scales square to Welsh on the halfway line. Hibs 1, Hibs 0, Celtic 1, beg your pardon, with the early penalty from Adam Ida, as Scales has it just inside Hibernian territory. Forward he comes, allowed to advance. Dylan Vente, the most advanced Hibernian player, and he's midway inside his own half. Out it goes to the right hand side to Kuhn, with the aided deflection, got that equaliser up at Pittodrie on the weekend. Here's Scales now. Bernardo just slips to his right, goes for goal, just over the top from Scales, from Bernardo, with a great movement there to find a yard for the shot, Packy, but just rising.
Yeah, that's better. That's what I've been asking for him to be doing all the time. Get that body opened up that time. A little bit of a foot movement to create an opportunity for himself. Obviously, the shot on target was well over the crossbar. At least the first part of it was good.
There's Vente, left hand side is Ewan, 25 yards from the Celtic goal line. It's a good challenge from Ralston, but better play down the left hand side from Ewan, and he's won his side a corner. 15 minutes in, it's the first time Hibernian have seriously been up the park, really, and they've got an opportunity here as Martin Boyle goes out to that left hand side to swing in the corner, trailing by a goal to nil. Boyle puts the ball in the arc and will try and pick out a teammate here with a quarter of an hour played at Easter Road. 4 or 5 to aim at in green and white inside that penalty area. Boyle from the left then, swings it in near post. It's not a bad ball, you know. Fish was closest to getting onto it. It's headed out of the penalty area though. Levitt tries to return it. McGregor then gets his head to it. Newell and Bernabe challenge for the ball. Breaks away of Boyle, left hand side, tries to angle it back into the penalty area for Vente. It's a poor attempt at a pass there from Boyle.
Yeah,
straight behind
Boyle,
for a goal
he's
kick.
got to do better there. There's an easy pass to the back post, and he's 10-15 yards off target. He's got to be doing better.
Yeah, there was 2v1 at the back post. Scales was almost on his own. I don't know where Bernabe was. I think he was cut over the other side of the pitch, and it was a 2v1, but it was a poor cross, as John alluded to.
No wins in 6 in the league for Hibernian. 2 draws and 4 defeats since the 1-0 win at Livingston back in early December. And their only win in that period did come away at Forfar, and by all accounts they made pretty heavy weather of that as well, eventually progressing by 1-0. They haven't won, apart from that Livingston victory, since the 4-1 defeat at Celtic Park, and they haven't won here since a victory over Aberdeen on the 3rd of December. So things not going ideally for Nick Montgomery just at the moment, after a pretty positive start, you'd have to say, to his Hibernian tenure. Celtic going back the way to their goalkeeper Joe Hart, leading by a goal to nil, 16 and almost 17 minutes played at Easter Road. Here's Ralston, an early substitute for the injured Alistair Johnstone. Looks over the top for Ida. It's a wonderful ball, but Ida couldn't quite take it in his stride. Brilliant pick out from Ralston, who's back on the ball and knocks it back to Stephen Welsh. But John, I think you'd have been proud of that pass yourself.
That was an inch perfect pass, 30-yard pass, and his touch let him down.
Maida almost in on goal as well, and his touch also let him down. That was a chance.
Oh, there was too big opportunity there for Celtic, and control from both players have let them down. As you say, the passes were perfect, John, but the control just let both players down, and they were in behind the Hibs defence. That's the worrying thing for Hibs.
I think Maeda, it's a common theme with Maeda. He's got magnificent speed, but that little bit of finesse, that touch, sometimes lets him down.
Beat up forward for Levitt, who hasn't really hit the heights for Hibernian. A lot was expected of him after the move from Dundee United, but he hasn't really produced the goods in a green and white shirt. As Celtic pick up possession once more, 18 minutes played. Stephen Welsh coming forward with his side leading by an early Adam Ida penalty to nil. Here's Maida, left hand side, back it goes to Scales. Square to Welsh, he's got plenty of time to advance, just on the edge of the centre circle right now. Plays it square for Scales, back to Welsh once more. Hibernian trying to get a foothold in the game, but having to do so from a goal down, as Mariah Welsh makes the interception but knocks it out of play. It'll be a Hibernian throw-in actually. Nick Walsh indicating it came off a Celtic player last.
Yeah, just looking at obviously the way Hibs, they're dropping back, as John rightly says earlier on. They're going back as a solid unit, trying to keep the middle closed, leaving that ball wide. Celtic have just got to pick maybe a quicker pass to penetrate them, and especially into those two front midfield players.
Hibernian have it. Forward for Yuan, still midway inside his own half. Levitt goes back the way to Newell, trying to dictate the play for Hibs from a deep position. Then Fish gets it to Miller, right hand side, closed down by Dies and Maida. Yeah, I mentioned Lewis Miller's contribution to the Asian Cup. He had an absolute nightmare in the final game there. He conceded an injury time penalty against South Korea to allow them to equalise, and then conceded the free kick for the winning goal, and had to be consoled by Martin Boyle among others. And, Australia being knocked out by the South Koreans. It's out for a throw into Hibernian deep in their own territory. They've played almost 20 minutes. 1-0 Celtic. Adam Ida on the score sheet for the first time for his new club. Marshall's closed down by Ida, gets it to the right hand side for Fish. Just a wasteful ball forward. McGregor tried to play it back into a dangerous area, and Mariah Welsh handled it, and it'll be a Celtic free kick. And Hibs causing themselves problems of their own, trying to play out from the back and really not doing it to any great effect.
Yeah, well, that's their tactic, that's their style. They will build from the back, but you need then players, really good players, to be able to do it, and also you've got to have midfielders then giving you the opportunity to play out, and if that sort of breaks down, Celtic will capitalise, because that's what they love. They love going and pressing you high up the pitch.
Celtic with the best away record in the league, despite that couple of drop points up at Pittodrie at the weekend, as Matt O'Reilly stands over the free kick about 35 yards from goal, clips in towards the back post. It's evaded everyone. Ralston will chase it, try and keep it in. Obita's with him, tries to backheel it off Obita, but he fails to do so, and it will be a Hibernian goal kick. Just over 20 minutes on the clock here at Easter Road. It's Hibernian 0, Celtic 1, and Celtic well on top here, John Collins.
It's really interesting watching now. Hibs have got the ball, the goalkeeper. Look how Celtic are. Look, they're ready, they're set up, edge of the box, ready to press instantly. Complete opposite of Hibs. Hibs drop off Celtic, let them play. Celtic up, pressing, forcing them into pressurised passes, and there we are, typical Celtic, win it straight back.
Ida looking to try and find Maida, back goes Lewis Miller, nudges it back to Marshall, goes down under the challenge from Maida and gets the free kick. But you're absolutely spot on, John, and it's a tactic I've seen a number of teams play against Hibernian, because they do try and play out, and I'm not sure that they've got the players necessarily to do it, as Hibs try and come forward. It's Levitt picking up possession just inside the Celtic half. There's a short ball back to Will Fish. Mariah Welsh comes to look for it, signed on a permanent deal from Bournemouth. A couple others are coming on loan deals, but he's moved on a 2.5-year deal, young midfielder, and in for his first start tonight. Here's Fish under pressure from Bernardo, gets the pass off to Venta, who tries to whip it round the corner for the pacey Martin Boyle, but out of his goal comes Joe Hart to knock it out of play left hand side, and it's a Hibernian throw, and quickly taken by Boyle for Mariah Welsh. Now it's Levitt midway inside the Celtic half, tries to angle it out for Obita, but it didn't look ever like it was going to reach its target, and it's easily picked off there by Kuhn. His pass almost sold Welsh short, but at the midway point in the first half, Celtic have it through Scales, Bernabe, and back with Scales.
This is where Celtic need to really do it a wee bit quicker and pick those passes through that Hibs team. They slow down, square pass, waiting for the moment, and now they'll probably have about 10 passes.
Yeah, the lost possession
until they give it away.
Yeah, and here comes Boyle, trying to make some headway down the right hand side. He's got Venta and Ewan up in support, but that's all. He has to check back and wait for Mariah Welsh. He goes inside to Newell, and Celtic able to regroup as Hibs weren't able to get the numbers forward quickly enough. But here is Triantis out to Obita, left hand side, up against Kuhn. Little step over, finds room for the cross, a great ball in, Boyle, and then Ewan over the bar. How has he missed that? It's come off a Celtic player. There's maybe one reason, but I think he should have got it on target. I don't know that it was going to hit the target. but for the touch. But it will be a corner, but it should have been a goal.
I think they're going to check it. Are they checking it for maybe a handball?
I'll tell you what a ball that is from Abita out there on the left. He's whipped that in. Unbelievable pace, right in that danger area, 6 yard. Too quick for the keeper to come.
Yeah, well, he hesitated a little bit, Joe Hart. I thought he was going to come initially. Whether he was going to get it or not, that's another question. But then he stopped, and the ball then went to the back post. But they're checking this at the moment for maybe a suspicion of a handball. No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, there was a slight claim for a handball, but it just looked like Ewan blazed it way over the crossbar. It did take a neck. I'd be interested to hear from Brian perhaps at some stage as if it was going to be on target. It didn't look like it to me, but maybe I'm doing Ewan a disservice. Here's Newell with the corner from the right hand side. In Sawyer, Hart tries to come and eventually collects it, gets a little bit fortunate, and his clearance isn't a good one. It's picked up by Boyle, who's taken out of play. Hibs free kick, which gives us a chance to go down to Brian. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong in thinking that was going to be off target.
Yeah, I think it was probably just going to go wide of the goal. It was definitely a deflection. When the ball was fired across, the ball actually came off Martin Boyle to go back into the path of Ella Ewan before his shot was deflected wide. But yeah, it was going wide anyway, and there was no real suggestion of a handball.
Thanks, Brian. Here come Hibs, just a little bit of a better spell for them. It's a good ball in from Boyle, but it's dealt with by the Celtic defence as they come under pressure for really the first time in the game. Ewan should have equalised a couple of minutes ago, but blazes off target as Maida now tries to find Ida. It wasn't a bad attempt at a pass, but out comes David Marshall and thwarts the danger. In any case, 25 minutes in, and Hibs just beginning, John Collins, to threaten that Celtic backline.
I think what they proved there, if they get up the pitch in the wider areas and put balls at the box, Celtic don't like it, so they've got to try and get further up the pitch. Hibs
out of play over on the far side from Stephen Welsh. Just going back to that Obita cross, it was an incredibly difficult one to deal with. Beautiful whip on it, and it should have really resulted in the equaliser as it broke off Boyle for Ewan, but the shot,
that's the key.
Deflection was off target.
All you do is just drop a shoulder and whip it in there. You don't have to go and beat the man 2 or 3 times to get the perfect cross in.
Yeah, Obita just bought half a yard of space, didn't he, with a little step over away from Kuhn and got that cross in.
And he has got a tremendous left foot. He wraps his foot right around it. I just like to see him trying to get further up the pitch.
And he has it, and he's knocked it back to Triantis, who goes all the way back to David Marshall. 26 on the clock. Hibernian 0, Celtic 1. Adam Ida with the only goal of the game. In fact, the only goal in the top flight this evening, as far as been made aware. I'm sure you'd have heard if there had been any goals at the other grounds so far. Kilmarnock against Livingston, remember. St Johnstone against Hearts, and St Mirren Dundee, all goalless, as Lewis Miller plays it through the legs of Maida, and then he goes right through Callum McGregor. My goodness, he wasn't holding back there. He took plenty of the ball, but wow, I mean, that's the kind of challenge that if you mistime that at all in this day and age, then you're straight down the tunnel.
Well, you could deem that as a little bit dangerous, because Callum McGregor got to the ball way before him and smashed it off him, but he carried through and took Callum right out of it.
And he's lucky. Callum McGregor is one of those players who doesn't dive about or roll about. He's got respect for the opposition. You don't go to ground like that these days. It's dangerous.
Yeah, there's the ball over the top, looking for Bernardo, but out comes Marshall, and just bowls that out to Triantis, who gave away the early penalty. As it's played forward for Ewan, he tries to spin off Ralston. Obita's in support, and Kuhn's trying to keep up with him. Down the left-hand side he comes. Obita cuts it back this time, but Welsh had taken up a good position at the near post and was able to cut it out. But Obita, just in the last few minutes, is threatening down that left-hand side.
Yeah, showed good strength and pace there, John, to beat Kuhn. Yeah, and he's quite quick also.
Miller picks up possession and plays it infield to Newell, and now it's Triantis, young Australian, played and won the league actually under Central Coast Mariners under Nick Montgomery last season. Brought to the club as Hibs try and come forward down the left-hand side again. Ralston's hurt himself, and he's been given a free kick actually for the challenge by Ewan. Didn't look to be all that much in that to me at first glance, but it will be a Celtic free kick. 28 minutes on the clock. Hibs 0, Celtic 1.
Ralston won the header cleanly. Johan did knock him hard, and Ralston, in fairness to him as well, he's a tough boy, he doesn't usually stay down.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And he is back on his feet now as Scales has possession just inside the centre circle. The impetus that Celtic had in the early stages has just gone out of the game a little bit. They do have that 1-goal advantage, as Scales though knocks the ball straight out of play.
I think we've got to give Hibs credit. They've come into the last 10-15 minutes, we've passed it better, they've got up the pitch a little bit more confidence coming into the team.
They have an out ball always on the left hand side with Torrentes, and at that time David Marshall elected just kick it long. Could have easily played out to him because obviously
Levitt's giving it away, and Maida picks up, drives towards the Hibernian penalty area. It's O'Reilly now sends it back post looking for Kuhn, who'll just be able to keep it in play. Bernardo's there in support. Kuhn has it right hand side, goes back the way beyond McGregor to Welsh. Welsh midway inside the Hibs half, gets it back from McGregor once more, then plays it square to Scales. Welsh once more, still midway inside that Hibs half. Scales again, and now Bernabei left hand side, back with Scales. Hibs getting back in a shape to try and make it difficult for Celtic to play through them. Welsh goes out to the right hand side to Kuhn. Ralston's made a run forward.
Every time Kuhn gets the ball so far, he's elected to pass it backwards. Go and take him on.
Yeah,
and take him on.
He's no confidence, he's no self-belief. He's playing the simple ball, safety ball. When I'm the manager, if I'm the manager, I'm saying, as soon as you get that ball in the final third, go and take on the fullback.
Absolutely.
Be positive.
Here's McGregor into the feet of Bernardo. I always just have to double check whether it's Bernardo or O'Reilly. I just do find them quite difficult to distinguish, albeit Bernardo's got fluorescent boots on this evening, so I can't have any real excuse. Here's Kuhn. Welsh now for Scales. It's half-time between St Johnstone and Hearts 0-0.
Every single time. That
honestly,
sorry Al for jumping in on you, as it frustrates me, that John, really frustrates me when you have pace, you're a winger, you come to the club, you want to show people what you can do, and every single time so far he's come back out and played the easy ball back to one of the centre halves or the full back.
Do you know what frustrates me, Packy?
What, me jumping in top of you?
Co-commentators talking over me.
Apologies. That was one that I had to come in on, because that was 4 times in a row there, John.
Yep.
No, you're both quite entitled to talk over me as much as you like. More sense from you pair. Here's Joe Hart playing the short ball out to Welsh. Still 1-0 Celtic, but the tempo's rather dropped after a good start from Celtic, and of course the early goal helps them as Welsh looks to go over the top looking for Kuhn, but again Marshall swiftly off his line, belying his 38 years of age. I guess you're almost at the stage where that's still quite young for a goalkeeper, certainly by Craig Gordon's standards these days. Gigi Buffon setting the template for them as Mariah Welsh goes in late there on McGregor. Could have been a free kick, but the referee let it go, and Hibs have it back, and it's out with Ewan left hand side. 32 played. Levitt back to Triantis, tries to switch the play out to this right hand side. It's ambitious. Bernabei cuts it out, but he's actually knocked it only straight to Boyle. He tries to play it forward for Miller. Miller had just checked his run momentarily, and as a result of that couldn't catch the ball forward, and it's out for a Celtic throw-in about 15 yards from their own flag. Back the way it goes from Bernabei to Scales, now to Hart. Hart clears first time as Ewan closed down. Newell gets his head to it. In steps Levitt, and then Mariah Welsh, and Triantis from the halfway line comes forward back to Abita square for Newell. Newell with that left foot of his clips out to this near side for Miller. It's a good ball, takes it down on the thigh. Time to measure across, headed away by Scales. Mariah Welsh couldn't quite latch onto the loose ball, breaks for Miller instead. Mariah Welsh is still available to him. That's where the ball goes, down the right hand side. Steps away from Bernabei, who looked to might have fouled him as well. Instead it's off the Argentine for a throw-in. 0-0 also at Killie. 0-0 between the two of them. Kilmarnock, Livingston, a very attacking lineup Kilmarnock had put out, but they haven't been able to break down Livingston so far. We'll get updates from all the other games at half-time in this one. Still in the early stages, St Mirren Dundee. Lewis Miller lining up the long throw in here. 33 minutes played, about 10 yards, 15 maybe from the corner flag on the right hand side. Hibs looking for an equaliser at Easter Road against the champions and league leaders Celtic, and it goes to the penalty area, causes some confusion, but eventually poked away by Ralston up towards Ida. He just manages to get enough on it to take it to Kuhn. Kuhn tries to get it back to the striker and goal scorer, but Newell's in there to knock it forward for Hibernian. Venta can't keep it, and Levitt can't do much with it either, but Obita battling away there for Hibernian to win it and gets it back to Newell, who plays a 1-2 with Levitt and then plays it out to the right hand side. It's better in these last 10 minutes or so from Hibernian. Miller now advancing down the right hand side. Mariah Welsh is inside of him. Newell's in close proximity, goes back the way to Fish, who's closed down by Ida, and then he plays it to Newell, who finds Triantis coming forward from the halfway line. Yuan's come in field, he gets a possession of the ball and plays it out to Obita. Back with Yuan, making strides down that left hand side, inside then outside, ball to the back post. Miller won't catch it, behind for a goal kick, but it is more promising for Hibernian.
If Hibs believe in themselves, there's goals here for Hibs. I think when they're going at Celtic, I'm a little bit worried when I'm looking at this Celtic back four.
Yeah, but I'm also worried about what's in front of them and the way that they're allowing Hibs to dominate the ball now at the moment. You know, and that Martin Bob made a fantastic run across the near post there, and the ball just landed. Nobody was almost man to man with him, and the ball just landed beyond him, and if that ball was on his head, that was a goal.
Celtic have it on the halfway line in the shape of Stephen Welsh, making advances into the Hibs half of the field. Now with Maida, left hand side, quickly closed down by Miller, back to Scales, square for Welsh, closed down by Levitt and turns it back to his goalkeeper Joe Hart, who's midway inside his own half. 10 minutes till the interval. Celtic leading by a Adam Ida penalty to nil, scored in about 10 minutes, albeit the collision and the foul that took place was in 4 minutes, but Alistair Johnstone required some lengthy treatment before being stretchered off, and so we will have probably got about 15 minutes to play actually in this first half, including that added on time, as Welsh has it. He's been forced back the way again. It's good pressing from him, it's good organisation to make sure Celtic couldn't play through them, and then they're having to go back the way instead. Brendan Rodgers' side, as he looks to record a first victory at Easter Road in the league as Celtic manager, as Maida and Bernabei come forward down the left hand side. It's a good ball in looking for Ida, but Triantis makes the clearance, then claims for an offside, which isn't forthcoming, and it will be a throw in instead to Celtic on this near side, taken by Bernabei. Gets it back from Bernardo, left hand side for Celtic. Maida back with Scales, short ball into the feet of O'Reilly. O'Reilly turns and gets it back to Scales. A couple of 1-2s between that pair, and then it's square for Stephen Welsh. Welsh back to Scales again, midway inside the Hibernian half. Celtic looking for a second goal, which would really dampen the home spirits before half time. Welsh, short ball into O'Reilly, space for him, and now space for Bernardo, tries to play into Ida in the channel. Good save, David Marshall. First time effort on the spin from Ida. Now the flag goes up against Ida, but Marshall wasn't to know that. He was quickly off his line again, out to make the block, and it remains Hibernian 0, Celtic 1.
Desperate for that ball to be played in through penetrating passes into those two midfield players who are high up the pitch, and they combined that little occasion there, and then they played in Adam Ida, and it's been crying out for throughout the game from Celtic's perspective. Too many sort of easy square passes, John,
and not enough penetrating passes. So often it comes to the winger Maeda. He's got a fullback in front of him in a byline 15 yards away, and he passes it back to his fullback. They go out the other side, and it's exactly the same for the winger across the other side. I want to see the wingers attacking fullbacks.
Ralston being attacked by Yuan, although it was Celtic who were in possession of the ball. Yuan just trying to close down, but unable to get the ball, and O'Reilly has it on the halfway line. Plays it short and square to Scales, forward to Bernardo, back with Scales just inside the Hibernian half. Scales plays it on to Bernardo, who quickly plays it out to Bernabe. First time cross in, is headed away by Fish. Ball comes out to Scales, about 20 yards inside the Hibernian half. Hibs sitting deep right now as Bernardo plays it forward to Maida. Tries the first time cross into the box, comes off Mariah Welsh and behind for a Celtic corner. 38 on the clock, Hibs 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, and that's what I think they've got to almost think about. Brendan talked before the game about what hasn't changed. That, to me, when under Ange, was you play forward, forward, forward. That was kind of almost a mentality.
Here's O'Reilly, left-hand side, corner kick. Glanced away by Triantis. Picked up by Bernabe over on the far side, the Celtic right. It's a yard away from Youan, puts a good ball in. It's Triantis again who wins the header. Boyle had it and he might have played in Youan, but he couldn't release it. And McGregor's done well to get through a couple of challenges and comes forward for Celtic, but couldn't find O'Reilly with the pass, and it's out off McGregor eventually for a throw-in, but chances for either side to break there. If Boyle had been able to find Youan on the left, Hibs would have been away on the counter, and then McGregor not quite managing to find the pass into Bernardo as Celtic look for a second. Throw in taken by Miller into Newell, back to Fish, closed down by Ida, but gets the ball down the right hand side. Venta beaten in the air by Scales. O'Reilly knocks it back to Welsh, who in turn plays it back to his goalkeeper Joe Hart. Short ball out to Welsh, does well, stays composed under pressure from Youan. It's good play from Welsh and then McGregor, because that could have been a real problem there for Celtic as they were closed down, but good composure, and here they come forward now. Bernabe on the chase for Maida's pass, left hand side inside the box. Fish gets a touch on it to knock it out of the penalty area. Back it comes though to McGregor for Scales, 35 yards from goal, plays it square for Welsh. Welsh into the feet now of O'Reilly on the edge of the penalty area. Ralston makes the run, but it's out with Kuhn on the right hand side. Challenged by Mariah Welsh. Good tenacity from the young midfielder, and he's won the free kick over on the left hand side of the Hibs box. But John, I think you wanted to come in on that, just the way that Celtic played out from the back there
it was tremendous composure from Welsh. The ball's played in, the whole stadium's thinking, oh, be careful, but he's had the intelligence to know where the Hibs players on his left hand side, he's turned and taken to his right. Superb, and Celtic broke really well. That final third, no enough shots from Celtic, no enough balls, quality balls in the box, lots of possession, but need more chances created.
So Hibs have the free kick, 41 minutes played, but as I say, at least I would imagine 5 minutes of stoppage time to be played at the end of the first half because of the injury to Alistair Johnstone that led to the penalty that has Celtic in front. It came early on through Anamida, a first Celtic goal for the Irish international. And here's another Irish international, Liam Scales, who's the guys we're talking about pre-match, has been highly impressive in a Celtic jersey. One of their most impressive performers, you'd have to say, over the course of the season so far. Here he is in possession just inside the Hibs half, plays it square to his central defensive partner Stephen Welsh, who I must say, although chances have been few and far between, partly because of injury, but also just in terms of Brendan Rodgers choosing other players, but I've never seen him let Celtic down.
No, he's a good young lad. He's homegrown talent, which I love to see also, and from that perspective, really good. And you know, he has been very unlucky with injury. There's no question about that. But every time he comes in, he plays very consistently.
Here's Scales forced back the way. Mariah Welsh has looked pretty decent for Hibs there, closing players down. Good energy, good tenacity in the middle of the park. It's O'Reilly for Celtic out to the left hand side for Bernabe. Maida tries a little flick, but it wasn't ever really on, but Miller's given it straight back to Bernabe, plays it to Scales. Again, it's square for Welsh, just inside his own half, coming up to the halfway line and crossing it now, right in the middle of the park. It's Scales spinning away from Mariah Welsh, back to Welsh, and now Scales into the feet of O'Reilly, tries it round the corner for Ida, and Newell had to slide in to intercept that one, otherwise Ida was in on goal and looking for a second of the evening. Here's McGregor, gets there just before Mariah Welsh and gets the ball back from Bernardo. Now it's Maida with the ball across, good interception by Miller, sliding to make that challenge. Comes back to Maida left hand side. Bernabe now looking to get room for the cross. cuts it back. Oh, it's an ambitious attempt from O'Reilly. He's completely missed it, and Hibs can counter. Levitt's completely failed to find the pass to Ewan. It's cut out by Welsh, and now Kuhn finds Ida, edge of the box. He's well challenged, but now Bernabei picks up. Can he get the ball across to a teammate? Left hand side, finds Kuhn. Not quite sure what he was trying there, but it comes to O'Reilly. Challenged well by Obita, and then picked up by Ewan as Hibs will try and come clear, and he's been fouled there by Ralston. Hibs will have the free kick and a bit of respite, but I mean, chances there certainly for Celtic, but also chances for Hibs to counter, but Levitt couldn't find the pass out for Ewan.
There was some tremendous play there in the middle of the park. Carl McGregor's got it. He's drove towards the edge of the box. I think he's got to pull the trigger. He's 20 yards out. He's got a wonderful left foot. Instead he passes it left, wider, to a player that's not in a better position than him. Callum's got that ability. I'd like to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I totally agree with John that. And then, of course, Hibs picking the ball up, and Levitt just got to get out from his feet and hit that ball behind the Celtic defence, and Johan's pace would have got him there, but he couldn't get the pass away.
Ewan well challenged there by Ralston. Celtic will have the throw in here in the end. Ralston takes it quickly into O'Reilly. It's back with the fullback on early for Alistair Johnstone after that head knock, and we hope for good news from the Celtic medical team on that front, as the Canadian was forced off on a stretcher, as Scales is under pressure there from Mariah Welsh, but he gets the pass off to Stephen Welsh, and then O'Reilly all the way back to Joe Hart. I mean, Hibs, considering how poorly they started the game, as 5 minutes of added on time is confirmed, they've done okay actually in this first half, and they're still well in the contest, you'd have to say, going into stoppage time.
I think they came into it quite well. Celtic on the attack here down this left hand side.
Yeah, might be a chance here for Bernardo onto the left foot, stands up to the back post. Not sure if that was a shot or a cross in the end from the Portuguese. Either way, it wasn't particularly effective, and drifts behind for a goal kick as we do move into those 5 minutes of stoppage time. It still remains Hibs 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, so Hibs did come back into it. I think they were allowed to come back into it from Celtic's perspective, and they controlled wee bits of the game and got higher up the pitch. And from that perspective, they'll be happy enough with the way the first half's gone. And you're right, early on it looked as if Celtic were going to swamp them.
In the first 10 minutes it was all Celtic. Hibs looked fearful, dropping back, giving them all the time in the world, but they've gone into the game, they've passed it a little bit better, and as I said, every time they get up in the final third they look dangerous. They've put a lot of balls into Celtic's box. Celtic don't like crosses coming in.
It's a Celtic throw-in midway inside their own half, left hand side, to be taken by Alessandro Bernabei, who continues in the starting lineup in Greg Taylor's absence. He's barely had a look in this season, Bernabei, but he's done okay since he's come in, from what I've seen at least. He's caught possession there though. Hibs have the throw-in. Bernabei was thought about going down injured, but then realised Hibs were playing on, and quickly got back to his feet. Good play from Venta to challenge Scales, prevent the ball from going out of play. He's looking for a free kick. It's not going to get it though, as McGregor plays it out. It's a poor pass. Levitt's pinched it, and Welsh has to look lively to clear that one before Hibs had the opportunity, and then there's a foul by Ida on Miller on the halfway line. The home fans not happy that a couple of decisions that they felt should have gone their way didn't. That one has gone their way, but no booking or anything like that for Ida. It certainly didn't merit it either. It's a free kick on the halfway line. A couple of minutes of stoppage time have gone, 3 to go, and it's still 1-0 Celtic. But Nick Montgomery, I would imagine, would be happier with the way things have gone in the latter stages of this first half than the way his side started it. It's Newell with the free kick then, just a couple of yards in from the right, more or less on the halfway line. Didn't really catch that as he intended, but Fish able to help it onto the edge of the penalty area. Celtic have dealt with it, and O'Reilly tries to play it forward for Maida, but Mariah Welsh is there. Forward for Ewan, his flick doesn't find a teammate, and Celtic have it midway inside their own half. Forward by Scales to Ida, who's dropped off the front to collect possession, and plays it out to Bernabei. Forward for Kuhn, who's caught there by Miller, who wags the finger as if to say, no, I didn't touch him, ref, but Nick Walsh reckons he did. So does Kuhn himself, who's still down, and it's a talking to for the Australian fullback, and a free kick to Celtic midway inside the Hibernian half with a couple of minutes of stoppage time still to play. McGregor will come across and take this one back into Scales. It goes. shot for O'Reilly, midway inside the Hibernian half. Square ball for Welsh and then for Scales, who plays it forward. It's a wayward one from Scales, straight out of play down near the corner flag for Hibs. It'll be a throw-in to be taken by Lewis Miller with 90 seconds remaining in the opening period. 1-0 Hibernian. We'll get half-time reports from Kelly Livy and St Johnstone Hearts. In fact, the second half will probably be kicking off more or less as we speak, and updates from St Mirren Dundee as well once we hit the interval here. Just the one goal in the first period thus far as Ewan heads on, but Boyle couldn't latch onto it, and then it's Newell's turn to try and pick Boyle. I think he might have been offside, but play continues. Right hand side, tries to get the cross in, no flag, so it will be a corner as it came off Scales, and Hibs will have a chance here to go in level as we enter the final 60 seconds of injury time. They've had only one real clear goal scoring opportunity. It should have brought about a leveller from Ellie Ewan. He blazed off target, but here's a chance for Joe Newell to try and threaten Joe Hart's goal from the right hand side. It'll be an in-swinger with the left foot as Hibs look to go in on equal terms. Nick Walsh just wants a quick word with Bernardo by the looks of it, but something he was up to inside the penalty area.
Every corner he's a little bit edgy, Bernardo. He's a little bit edgy, he's grabbing, his arms are out. He's got to be very careful.
He's been warned. Here's Newell's corner, swung to the back post, out comes Hart. He gets a good fist to it. Maida helps on, then puts pressure on Levitt. Levitt can't find Mariah Welsh, and he tries to take Kuhn out of play, but continues and then finds Maida. That's a poor pass from Maida. I reckon Mariah Welsh will end up in the book for this one. He's looking around for him, Nick Walsh. He spots him, and it's a yellow card because he tried to take Kuhn out of play there. And it is half time here at Easter Road. Late booking there for Mariah Welsh. The goal came early on. It came from the penalty spot. There was a foul by Nectar Triantis, young Hibs defender on loan from Sunderland, who caught Alistair Johnston late inside the penalty area. It was a heavy head knock for Johnston, who was forced off on a stretcher, and Adam Ida stepped up to take the penalty and sent David Marshall the wrong way to score the only goal of the half. Celtic were certainly dominant, particularly in that early phase, although they haven't really troubled David Marshall since then, and Ellie Ewan had an opportunity to equalise midway through that first period but couldn't find the target, and as a result of that the sides go in with the scoreline reading: Hibernian 0, Celtic 1.
The Scottish Premiership
from BBC Radio Scotland. Last time in the Six Nations.
The tension is unbelievable inside the stadium at the moment.
It's Try Scotland.
Scotland are at last victorious in Cardiff.
They held off the Welsh revival by the skin of their teeth.
Feel every moment of the Six Nations.
Get all the news and exclusive interviews from the Championship.
The BBC Radio Scotland Rugby Podcast on BBC Sounds.
And catch Scotland versus France on Saturday afternoon.
Scotland in for the try.
Listen from 2 on digital radio or ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
This is Sports Sound live here on BBC Radio Scotland. Half-time in our commentary match. Hibernian 0, Celtic 1. Adam Ida with that early penalty. Let's get to Paisley because they are still playing given the delayed kick-off. There were traffic problems that held Dundee up. Got underway about 8:15. Rory Loy, what's been happening?
Not a great deal, Richard. Large spades of the half so far as we enter the 39th minute have been devoid of quality, but it has had its moments. St Mirren, the better of the two sides, I would suggest. They've created the better of the chances as they come forward again here. They're just in the box, but it leads to nothing. And the 16th minute, Mandaron had a kind of have a chance with a half volley. And Jordan McGee flashed one up the other end right across the face, a goal for Dundee. Really good play from Kwon around the 25th minute, a 1-2 with Boyd Munsey, slipped in Mandaron and Mandaron's low shot was saved well by Carson, I must say. just watching Dundee attacking there, and then Kilty's corner was met at the front post by Gogic. It was flicked on. He should have done better, probably should have scored for me. That was the best opportunity of the half. Lyle Cameron, the pick of the players for Dundee, but St Mirren, slightly the better team, but neither team have done enough at this juncture to be in front. It's still 0-0, Richard.
So that's moving towards half-time and goalless in Paisley. We're into the second half of the other two matches. Going to go to Rugby Park. Lee McCulloch's there watching Kilmarnock against Livingston.
Hi Richard. First half, little bit of a non-event. David Martindale probably the happier of the two managers. They had the ball in the net in the 40th minute with a great slip past Daniel Mackay, 1-on-1 with Dennis. Went round him, showing great composure. VAR ruled it offside. Then after that, Yenji started looking a bit of a threat. Had a 1-on-1, just missed it. The half-time whistle went and Kilmarnock fans booed the team off. They've made two changes. Derek McInnes has made two changes with probably more attacking impetus. Kennedy's on for Davis, Polworth is on for Watson. Kilmarnock started the second half brightly, like they probably needed to, but as it stands, David Martindale will be the happier of the two managers, and it's still 0-0.
They can be an unforgiving lot, football fans, can't they, Lee? Kilmarnock, given that wonderful run they've been on, and getting booed off at half-time.
Fourth in the league. Disappointing first half. Yes, the fans. Oh, there's a shot just over the bar for Matty Kennedy. Yes, the fans are they're pretty demanding here. I know that.
I know you do.
Experience.
I know you do. Right, goalless Kilmarnock against Livingston. Let's go to Callum. He's watching St Johnstone against Hearts.
Yeah, very similar to Lee. Unfortunately, I would love to report back this exciting end-to-end game. Probably say there's been very few first half, very few half chances. The best one for St Johnstone fell in the 38th minute to Kimpioka. He's taken a little half chance, he swiveled, but he's hit it over the bar. And then about 6 minutes later, Hearts had their best chance, was a backpool header from Vargas. Apart from that, honestly, it was really... Hearts struggled first 20 minutes to actually try and break St Johnstone down, and then Green Carey started to dictate the game for St Johnstone. They came back into it without causing too much threat. Hold on, goal! Just as you come to me, something's actually happened. Maybe just stay with me for the rest of the game and that'd be nice. Lawrence Shankland gives Hearts 1-0 lead. Actually, if I'm being honest with you, I was looking at my notes, trying to talk about the first half, and I think it's a mistake by the St Johnstone defender. He's gone clean through, and he just slotted past Mitov. 1-0 to Hearts.
Lawrence Shankland gets goal number 22 of the season. He's got 17 in the league. He's just been incredible, hasn't he? 17 league goals for Lawrence Shankland. Hearts have scored 33 league goals, so he's got just over half of their goals. And of course, been in this wonderful run of form, which has seen him, well, just netting virtually. In it. Callum, have you've said the fateful three letters?
Yeah, they're just checking just now. They've gone celebrating, but the referee's actually taking his time here, checking that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask, was there anything suspicious about it? But of course, you were looking at your notes, so you're not really sure.
I know whether it was a foul by Shankland, maybe just pulling maybe Andrew Constantine or Ryan McGowan back. I wasn't sure. Apart from that, I don't think there was anything else in it. But it's obviously just the normal now. A goal goes in. You celebrate it, and then you've got to wait 2 or 3 minutes to make sure it's a goal.
So as it stands, just to clarify, the referee's just standing, finger to his ear, just listening, just waiting. Yeah,
you've got that.
Okay,
it's a goal.
It's a goal.
1-0.
Lawrence Shankland does it then yet again for Heart of Midlothian. Just astonishing. I mean, he scored in the last 3. He'd missed a couple prior. Well, he didn't play in the Spartans Cup tie, did he? Missed a couple of games there. He'd scored in the 6 games prior to that. Just an absolute goal machine. It is 22 for the season, and well, he has nudged ahead of Romain Barrel of Cove Rangers as the top scorer in the country. So Lawrence Shankland for Hearts, they are looking to maintain this magnificent run, and they've gone 1-0 up away to St Johnstone this evening. SWPL 1, there's 5 fixtures across the country. It's Aberdeen 0, Montrose 1, Holly Daniel with a goal there. The veteran Jane Ross has scored the leaders Rangers, 1-0 up against Hearts. Spartans and Partick Thistle are goalless. It's Glasgow City 1, Hamilton 0. That's a half-time score. Emily Whelan scoring there. And it's Caitlin Hayes who's been on target for Celtic. At half-time they are 1-0 up away to Motherwell. A couple of games in the FA Cup this evening. 2, Nottingham Forest 1, Bristol City 1 is a latest scoreline, and at half, that's into the second half. In fact, Forest have just equalised in that. No, I beg your pardon, it is 1-1. Origi scored early on for Forest, the night with the equaliser for Bristol City. It's Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 2 at half time. Gallagher and Jackson with the early goals for Chelsea, who could be doing with a cup run, the way things have been going for them in the league. Here at Easter Road, it is 1-0 for Celtic. Adam Ida with the early penalty. There was a bit of a delay and certainly lengthy treatment for Alistair Johnstone, who took a real whack on the head as he and the Hibernian defender Triantis were up for the ball. The Hibernian defender certainly looked to catch him, and there seemed to be no doubt for the referee, for VAR certainly. Adam Ida stroked it away. Celtic have got the lead. But have they, Pat Bonner, for the most part, been frustrating to watch, Celtic?
Yes, I would say. You know, they started out the first 10 minutes pressing high, lots of possession, Hibs dropping back, allowing them all that possession. Ball was square, out to Kuhn out on the right hand side, back again, square, out to Maeda on the other side, back again. Lots and lots of passes, but no real penetration. I think apart from the penalty, I think I can only remember Bernardo once opening up and getting a shot over the cross, but there was one other thing that he linked up with, I think Matt O'Reilly, but Ada was offside, and that's been really it. I think, you know, it's really frustrating when I see wingers, young Kuhn's come to the club. If you're going to make an impact at a club, get the ball, give me the ball, get it to your feet, and go and take that full back on.
I mean, it wasn't
back all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't even that he was turning back. Pat, he had the way in his body shape, all he was ever going to do was just essentially play the ball pass back to whoever had set it out to him.
Yeah, and I watched the game against Aberdeen at the weekend, and he came on off the bench, and he did exactly the first time he got the ball, turned back and played it back. Brendan Rodgers was out telling them to take him on. He took him on the next time, the fullback, and he created something. And I don't know whether that's a lack of confidence, or it's a mentality, or it's a modern way that wingers play now. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen last year. When you talk about ability of players, that's not ability, that's mentality for me. That's you have got to try to take people on. If it doesn't work for you, then you can come back out and play the safe ball. But you don't do it every single time, and that's what I see. I can only report on what I see, and that frustrates me, because Celtic players, wingers especially, they've got to stand up and be counted and go and take the ball and do something with it. But don't play the easy game, and that to me would be the message I would say. He's young, he's only come here, you can't criticise him too much, but that's about mentality for me.
No, I agree with you, Paggy. When you've got two wingers on the pitch, you've got to be asking them for end product. An end product from a winger is not a pass back to a fullback. An end product from a winger is you get it on a half turn, you face up the fullback, you go and bounce it off a centre forward and get a 1-2, come across the face and get a strike on target, or you 1-2, get to the byline. We're not seeing that. There's not enough from Maeda, not enough end product. Kuhn, it looks like a young boy. I'm watching from here, I'm looking for a young boy with not a lot of confidence and belief in himself. Okay, it's his first game, but this is a good pitch for a winger, good surface. And what you want as a winger, you want the ball fed to you high up the pitch. They've had plenty of balls at their feet high up the pitch, but they've got to do more.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's the first time I've seen Celtic in the flesh for a few weeks. They seem, there's been little moments where they step it up, but essentially it's so pedestrian, isn't it?
Yeah, pedestrian, lots of passes, and we talked about it, and Brendan came out before the game and said nothing has changed. I certainly see big changes.
That's a totally different team to the one that we've seen for the last few seasons.
Absolutely. And when you think back, when Abada and even Maeda got the ball, as soon as he got the ball, they knocked it past it. Abada went on the inside, the outside. Jota, when he played inside, outside, created things. He's made the changes. He's taken Palma out. He's taken Abada out of the team tonight. He's gone with two different wingers. Maeda will try. Listen, Maeda is about power, strength and speed. It's not about trickery with Maeda, and he'll try that. but other people has come into the team. That's why you buy players. You buy players that come in to be better than what you have, and that's the key. And that's why maybe the fans are grumbling at the moment, because they haven't seen that. And yes, players have got to be given time and so on. Then you look at the midfield and you say, how many passes has been played in down the side of the centre half for Aida to run onto? Very, very few for me. Lots and lots. And I know Hibs have dropped back and made it very, very difficult here. But I'm looking for penetration, and I don't see that from Celtic at the moment. And the intensity isn't there. It's not quick enough.
And also, they haven't worked the goalkeeper. If you're not getting to the byline, you've got to have midfielders come up edge of the box, getting strikes on target. They haven't worked the goalkeeper enough. 1-0 up, plenty of possession, but they need more, keyword, penetration. Penetrating passes.
John, you were a little despairing of Hibernian in the early stages, just in terms of their approach. They were sitting very, very deep. I mean, they've continued to do that for the large part, but they actually, there was a spell in the game there where they got more of it. They got up the pitch a bit.
Yeah, I think.
Is that what you're looking for, second half?
Yeah, I think after 20 minutes, all of a sudden, Celtic came off it a little bit, and Hibs started getting possession. They started getting the balls further up the pitch in the wider areas, more specifically out in the wide left area. Obita got forward, put a couple of terrific balls in the box, and Celtic looked shaky. So Hibs need to be braver. Of course, when Celtic have got the ball, they've got to be compact, but I'd like to see them approaching Celtic higher up the pitch. You drop off against Celtic, just asking for trouble, because eventually they're going to create something. But they proved a little 15-20 minute period, Hibs, if they believe in themselves, get in and around Celtic's box, they'll create chances. And Martin Broyle does bring them something to the party. He brings a little sharpness, and he frightens defenders with his pace.
Well, they did get the early lead through Adam Ida's penalty. Hibernian 0, Celtic 1. Quickly to Kilmarnock, Livingston. Anything else to report from there, Lee?
Hi, Richard. Yes, Kilmarnock a little bit more attacking with the players they've brought on. Greg Stewart at times showing his class, twisting and turning, trying to create opportunities. Shinnie's also come on for Bradley, for Livingston. Kilmarnock had a chance there for a corner. Matty Kittinsey put a great corner in. Donnelly with the free header, and it was a great save by George. Other than that, oh God, Livingston have just missed a half chance on the corner of the box. It's getting a little bit more end-to-end, a little bit more entertainment coming into the game. So let's hope for this first goal.
I'm sure Livingston would be happier with the scoreline as it stands, although they are 6 points behind second bottom Ross County. This will mean they've played 2 games more as well. The last time we went to Callum, we brought him a goal. Still 1-0 Hearts, Callum.
Well, still 1-0 Hearts here. I think it's Hearts are really controlling the game just now. St Johnstone struggling to get back into it. St Johnstone actually have 5 strikers on the bench, but they don't really have any wide players available to actually give them any supply. He's just made 2 changes. He's brought 2 strikers off the bench to try and make something happen, but at the moment Hearts are in control and comfortably leading 1-0.
Lauren Shacklin's 22nd goal of the season. Remember, it was a delayed kick-off in Paisley. Mirren 0, Dundee 0 at half-time. Not an awful lot for Rory Loy to report from that one, but all 3 guys will keep us up to date. 1-0 at half-time. The players back out. Live second half commentary here on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland with Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Just about to get back underway. No half-time changes to either line-up. So still just the 1 change made altogether, and that was that early injury to Alistair Johnstone that forced Anthony Ralston's introduction. Hibs get us back underway. They are going from right to left for this second period as we look at it from the back of the main stand, and still very much in the game. Celtic beyond the penalty, haven't forced any great saves from David Marshall, you'd have to say. But here they come, the visitors, looking for an early second half goal to add to the one they got early in the first period, and it's Ralston. It's a good ball into the back post, hit it high in the air by Miller to the edge of the box. O'Reilly trying to make something of it. Kuhn gets it to Bernardo, and then McGregor finds Maida, tries to take Miller on the outside. Miller just hammers the ball off the Japanese winger's shins, and it rattles behind for a Hibernian goal kick. But Celtic coming out the traps quickly. That's something you'd imagine, Packy, has been demanded of them by the manager.
Yeah, you would think so, absolutely. The intensity up and get when they get wide, go as we talked at half time, and we'll keep talking about it. Go and take those fullbacks on. That time was Ralston overlapping Kuhn, and he was able to get a good cross into the box, and maybe that's what was needed for Kuhn to take a little bit of pressure off. But when the ball came to Maeda on the other side, his touch was awful, and allowed. There's a good ball from him though.
From Maeda for Bernardo. Did he foul Joe Newell? Yes, is Nick Walsh, and awards Hibernian a free kick just inside their own penalty area, and again the pressure relieved on that Hibernian defence. The 4-2 win here for Hibs at the tail end of last season, when the title was already in the bag for Celtic. It's tough to say, but that 4-2 victory is the only time that they've beaten Celtic in the last 20 meetings in all competitions. 7 draws and 12 defeats before tonight. Celtic looking to make that 13 defeats. Although I did say that Brendan Rodgers doesn't have a great record here, as Venta tries to play the ball into the middle and it comes back off him and behind for a goal kick. But Celtic have won here just twice in their last 12 visits. Both of those under Ange Postecoglou, 7 draws and 3 defeats. So it's a set of statistics that don't necessarily tally, but they are the reality. Celtic with the advantage so far. 2.5 minutes played in this second period. They lead by a goal to nil. Adam Ida with his first ever Celtic goal, on loan from Norwich, as Bernabe lets it drift out to Maeda. Now it's Bernardo turning back the way, much to Mackie's angst. Square by Scales to Welsh, and he has to go back to his goalkeeper Joe Hart, who's 10 yards or so outside of his penalty area.
Well, that slows the whole game down. You know, he was in a great position there. He opened up and drive forward. Instead, he pirouettes and comes back out and knocks the ball, and now he's gone back to Joe Hart, who kicks long and gives the ball away. So
that is the difference between Ange's team and Brendan's team. Ange wouldn't be standing for that. He'd be saying play forward, play forward. But I think Brendan likes a little bit more possession.
Celtic have it as Hibs tried to force their way forward. It broke down, and now it's Bernabe back to Scales, just inside his own half, but bringing the ball up towards the halfway line, closed down by Mariah Welsh. Plays it square to Stephen Welsh, and then back to Joe Hart once more, just outside his box. Back with Welsh, midway inside the Celtic half. Gets it back from Ralston, and then turns and plays it square to Scales. Scales closed down by Mariah Welsh again, but gets the pass off to Bernardo, who then finds McGregor. He tries to slip it inside for Maeda, and Miller forced into evasive action there and just slides and plays it behind for a Celtic corner, as Maeda threatened to get in behind. As Maeda will leave this corner for O'Reilly over on the far side, the Celtic left, and the left-footed Danish international will take this corner kick. The Celtic look for a second goal. Near post ball is glanced on by Bernardo, comes all the way out to Bernabe, who steps away from Yuan, wants it back on that left foot, glanced towards goal by Scales, but 2 or 3 yards wide of David Marshall's far post, and it does remain. After almost 5 minutes of the second period, Hibs 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, Ewan sold himself on the edge of the box there. He's a lucky man, because Bernabe had 2 options: one to cross it in or take on a shot. He comes out, he dives in, and Bernabe just steps back by him right on the edge of the box. Really dangerous.
Celtic have won it back again inside Hibernian territory, but O'Reilly can't link with Bernabe, and Hibs have it, and Boyle tries to burrow his way forward and then plays it out to the left hand side for Yuan, who's one-on-one almost with Ralston here. He's trying to stick with him, the full back, and he's managed to do so, but he's inside the penalty area. Eli Yuan, he's got Obita in support, goes back to him, tries to get the better of Nicholas Kuhn on the left hand side, and then comes back once more to Newell. Newell just outside the penalty area, finds room for a cross, dinks it to the back post. It's attacked by Venta, and that was an opportunity. It's a free kick has been given against Venta for the challenge on Bernabe, which seems slightly harsh to me, although Venta didn't make much of the header either. And it does remain Hibs 0, Celtic 1.
Good football from Hibs, building up here on the left-hand side, back to Newell, delivered a great ball to the back post there. I thought Venti could have attacked it more.
Absolutely, you know, big centre forward, decent size, up against Burnaby at that back post. He didn't really attack it, John. It was a great opportunity coming in with his physique into the back post.
It's a free kick to Celtic and a yellow card to Will Fish for dragging back Bernardo as he made his way towards the penalty area. The free kick's taken short by McGregor, gets it back from Bernardo, and then Ralston out to Kuhn on this right hand side. Ralston makes the run and points where he wants it. Kuhn doesn't use him, he comes inside instead, and the cross is headed away as far as Scales, about 40 yards from goal. Burnaby back in towards the edge of the penalty area, but picked up by Levitt, who's fouled as he tried to release Boyle on that right hand side, and it'll be a free kick to Hibernian.
I'll tell you what, if he had to play that ball a little bit better, I know he got caught maybe and that took it away, but Boyle was away. Boyle was down the right hand side, loads of space to run into, and it's just the pass didn't get to him.
Triantis in trying to play the ball forward for Abita, instead plays it off Yuan and out for a throw in just in front of Brendan Rodgers' dugout, and McGregor plays it on to Scales, out to Burnaby. Left hand side is Maida, just inside the Hibs half. Oh, it's a lovely turn away from Miller there by Maida, but across comes Fish on the cover. Maida just showed too much of it to the centre back, but initially it was good play from Maida to lose Miller.
Much better, isn't it? When you just open that up in that first touch, knock it by the fullback, and away you go. And that obviously maybe a big touch, but at least I have nothing against that. Go and do that. Keep doing that in the game.
Celtic have it at the back. Short ball from Welsh into Bernardo in the little triangle with Scales involved as well. Bernardo has it back, finds O'Reilly, out to the left hand side to Maida, just on the angle of the box now. Early ball in, Ida off the bar, so unlucky, so close. Oh, it's an offside flag up to, I suppose, temper his disappointment, because if that had ended up in the back of the net.
Had a go at Maida first half for not delivering. He delivered there, a superb ball into the box for Ida, and he should have finished it offside obviously, but terrific move.
Yeah, but it was a build-up, John. You know, again, we talked about that penetrating pass, 2-3 pass, middle of the pitch, and then he goes, and then the cross comes in early, and that's the get that for and position it for next week. That's exactly what they should be working on all the time, and they've got the ability to do it. That's the point.
Referee stopped the game here because Stephen Welsh came down heavily after winning a header, and he's clutching the back of his head. I think he did knock the back of his head off the ground as he landed. He was really unable to break his fall, and it would have been a real thud down on the back and the back of the head. So Nick Walsh, despite the Hibs fans being pretty angry about the stoppage because they were in possession crossing the halfway line, I think it was probably right for Nick Walsh to do so. Stephen Welsh looks like he's going to be fine, but can't take any chances as he gets up and walks off the field of play. But yeah, it was much better play there from Celtic in that build-up. Ida seeing the shot crash off the crossbar, the side-footed volley. Perhaps, yeah, he should have kept it down, but he was offside in any event. But much better play all round from Celtic, much quicker tempo as well, Packy.
Yeah, much so. You could criticise him maybe for dragging himself into an offside position, maybe just hold himself a little bit. Maybe that's an experience, but at least he was getting in there on the end of that. But yeah, 2-3 passes quickly through that midfield, Hibs midfield, and then you're penetrating the back four.
Triantis plays it out to the right hand side, headed on by Miller. Venta on the inside the penalty area. Boyle tries to get it back across the 6-yard box. Scales in the way. It was a good intervention, an important intervention from Liam Scales to prevent Hibs getting the opportunity, and there's a foul there on Miller, I think it was, over on the far side. And it'll be a free kick to Hibernian about 20 yards inside the Celtic half, over on the right hand side. But all of a sudden Hibs looking threatening as they came forward. John, you've said all along that if they believe in themselves, there will be chances in the game for them.
I've said that. They've got to believe they can cause Celtic problems. They've proven it. Every time they go up the pitch, play a penetrating pass or get it wide, get balls in the box, Celtic are shaky. They're vulnerable.
Of course, Cameron Carter-Vickers' absence is always going to lead to a bit of a weakening, you would have to imagine, of that back line, as able as both Scales and Welsh are. Mariah Welsh penalised there for the challenge on Scales, and he'll just have to be careful because he has been booked, the young man.
Yeah, just got to be careful. You're right, just a little bit late on that. There wasn't too much in it. Scales went down, looked as if he was injured, but he got back up very quickly. I think that annoyed the Hibs fans.
Here's Maida playing it forward, looking for Ida again, but good defending by Fish to step in. But Celtic looking like they're trying to move the ball quicker in this second period, looking for a second goal, which might well kill Hibernian off. Good footwork from Bernardo. Ida's in here. Is he going to find the second? Great save from Marshall. Out quickly again to narrow the angle, and it will be a corner kick as Ida's denied by good goalkeeping by Marshall.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I think at half-time, Brendan Rodgers and the staff picked up on what we were talking about at half-time. More penetration, and that's certainly, at the start of this second half anyway, that seems to be evident.
Corner kick from the left-hand side. O'Reilly with the left foot, knocked away by Venta at the near post. Collected by Ralston, plays it square for Bernabei, clips it back into the penalty area. Venta still back doing the defending. Bernardo lashes it goalwards, blocked on its way through, and it's cleared by the Hibs defence. Bernabei under pressure, but manages to get it to McGregor. Onto the halfway line to Ralston. There's a good stop a minute ago from David Marshall. Here's O'Reilly still over on that left-hand side. It's a good ball. Ida rises high, can't get the header on target, and then Newell was surely fouled there by Bernardo. Indeed, Nick Walsh agrees. Let's cross to Brian McLaughlin, because Hibs are about to make their first change of the evening.
Yeah, Maizan Malidas to get an introduction with just over half an hour to go. The player he'll be replacing is number 9, Dylan Vente.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, Vente's put plenty of work in, but he hasn't had much balls to his feet, balls over the top, but he's done a lot of running. Fresh legs for Hibs.
Yeah, well, interesting to see what another of the new signings has to offer this evening. An opportunity to come on here and influence the game for the closing half an hour or so. And he's got an opportunity here. He could be in behind. He was being pulled back there by Welsh. And Nick Walsh has got a decision here. What's the card? It's yellow. As Malida just spun in behind Welsh, and he had to hold on to him to prevent him getting clear on goal. But the Hibs players, I guess, are making the point that it could have been an obvious goal scoring opportunity, but Nick Walsh deciding otherwise. A yellow suffices. But in the first seconds of his appearance, Malida showing that he's going to be a threat to that Celtic backline.
Yeah, he looks like a powerful player also. But that was a good run, intelligent run from him also.
Newell's free kick into the box. It comes back to Levitt. Goal! What a strike from Dylan Levitt! From just outside the penalty area. He catches it as sweet as you like. Just as it was rising, he got his knee right over the ball. Beautiful technique, perfect connection. Low pass, Joe Hart away to his left into the bottom corner. Hibernian 1, Celtic 1.
Wonderful strike, technique, target, bomb corner. Joe Hart, no chance. Exactly what you want to see your midfield players. Edge of the box, the ball's played to the back post, edge of the box, anything is dropping around there, ready for it.
Yeah, Celtic unable to get a good maybe header on that ball to clear their lines. Drops round about 20 yards out, and he struck it on the sort of volley, half volley with his right peg, and it's right into the corner at the post, down low to Joe Hart's left hand side. No chance for the goalkeeper. True bodies also.
It's Dylan Levitt's first Hibernian goal, and he might not score a better one. You just don't catch them better than that. And although I was saying earlier that he hasn't really hit the heights in a Hibs jersey, he certainly hit the heights there with that strike. Just so sweet as it came to him 20 yards from goal. Joe Hart didn't have an earthly, and it's some way to open your Hibernian account, and that got the home fans off their feet. You just dream of catching them like that, don't you, John?
Well,
I can certainly.
You may could have another. He could have another 100 and he wouldn't hit it any sweeter. Perfect. Bottom corner with his laces, clean as a whistle. Great strike.
And so the game back in the melting pot. As long as it was 1-0, it always was going to be a threat that Hibs could do something. As we've got a bit of defending to do again, putting themselves in bother. And the home fans all of a sudden getting right behind their side as Mariah Welsh has won it and finds Boyle on the right, comes into Mailida, overhead kick saved by Hart. What an effort that was by the substitute, and Joe Hart, fortunately for him, was right at him, was able to push it away, but all of a sudden the tables have turned. It's a lovely flick from Boyle into the penalty, and he comes, he goes down. Oh, he's been penalised for going down, a yellow card. I thought he was caught by Bernabei, but Nick Walsh says it's a dive and a yellow card for the winger.
Looking by his reaction, I would tell you, I think he's been caught.
That's our big win. Obviously it'll go to VAR, will it?
Yeah, it'll definitely be checked.
Will be checked, and yeah, it was dramatic inside the box, but brilliant bit of play initially from him to flip that ball over Bernabei's head, but not. It doesn't look as if they're going to check it.
Yeah, well, they will have checked it, Paggy. It's just it's obviously been quick enough that that they're content that it was the correct decision. I'll tell you, Welsh played himself into bother there at the back. Levitt now finds Mailida at the edge of the box. Out to Ewan it comes. Celtic at 6s and 7s at the back at the moment. Here's Levitt, might try his chances again. Oh, it's just clipped in over Boyle's head and out for a goal kick. But Hibs all of a sudden well on top, and Celtic look panicky at the back, although Bernabei shows good skill to move away down the left hand side. Forward it comes, the ball's onto the chest of Lewis Miller. Maida nicks it off him and out off Newell for a Celtic throw-in. I think Brian got a look at that Martin Boyle incident, shall we say. Brian, what was your view of it?
Yeah, I had a look and I think it was a correct decision by Nick Walsh. There didn't appear to be a touch from the two angles I've had a look at. It also looks as if Brendan Rodgers is going to make at least one substitution, possibly two. Abada is ready to come on. There's another player as well receiving instructions. I'll come back to you Al on that one shortly.
Thanks, Brian. Celtic in possession. They need to recover their composure. They looked rattled, but here's Kuhn coming forward, looking to get their noses back in front. Kuhn, it's a good challenge from Ewan in the end, coming back to help out Obita. Still he has it. He's under pressure inside the box. Obita then helps him out and clears his lines up to Mailida. Mailida causing Welsh a problem there, but Celtic have won it back. McGregor, well challenged by Newell, and then in steps Bernabei. All of a sudden we've got a real game on our hands here.
Incredible what a goal does. All of a sudden you see the energy in every single Hibs player. They're all wanting the ball. Celtic looking a little bit edgy now.
And you've got to go back to Malida's overhead kick also, John, inside the box. Really a brilliant bit of technique, to be honest. And that. So yeah, the game is really livened up.
And Mailida came on to score an equaliser against Kilmarnock, and he almost had a goal to put Hibernian in front. It was a spectacular acrobatic effort. Boyle's surely offside. He's in behind. He's at a tight angle. It's a good save by Hart. It is offside. They looked well offside. It's rather annoying, but I know the assistants have to delay their fly. We've got a couple of substitutions here, and Brian can tell us about them.
Yeah, Leo Labada's coming on, as is number 17, Mike Nawroski. The player's being replaced. Stephen Welsh, who took a knock in the first half, just before half-time. I was a little bit surprised he came out for the second half, but he's coming off, as is number 10, Nicholas Kuhn, who's had very little impact, certainly in the second half anyway.
Thanks, Brian. What do you make of those changes? Back in Nawroski for Welsh is a fairly obvious one, because Welsh took that dunt as well just a few moments ago, so maybe hasn't recovered from that either. But Abada on, he should be able to make an impact in this game.
He should be, and you know, just see Stephen Welsh, he can almost hobbled off the pitch. Nawroski has gone on. He's got to make an impact and settle that defence down, but Abada is the one going on for Kuhn. Give him the ball, get him to go and attack that full back. Kuhn didn't make an impact in the game for me. And even in the second half.
Yeah, well, Hibs have made an impact in the second half. They've got themselves level. 1-1 it stands with 25 minutes to play. Hearts leading by a goal to nil. That McDermott part, the only other goal in the Premiership this evening. Sorry, Packy, on you go.
No, I was just going to say Hibs are pressing Celtic a bit better in this half, also a little bit higher up the pitch. You know, as soon as the centre halves get the ball, somebody's popping out to press them, and that just speeds things up, and Celtic aren't as composed as they were in that first half.
Brian, I think you've got news of another home change.
Yeah, there's going to be a home substitution. Luke Amos is being introduced with 66 minutes on the clock. An introduction to him for work at here Easter Road, and he'll be replacing the goal scorer Dylan Levitt.
He does robbed. Fish, and he's got a chance here. Oh, it's good recovery from Newell. Still the chance might be on. Can Ida find a teammate? Tries to play it across goal, but brilliant play there by Newell to recover after Fish lost possession to Ida, and he made his way into the penalty area but couldn't get the shot away before the Hibs skipper got back in to make the challenge. Still Celtic pressing there at the edge of the box. It's McGregor getting a second bite at it, up against Boyle, who just a moment ago was booked for simulation inside the penalty area when it looked like he had the opportunity. I don't know why he went down when he was inside the box if he wasn't fouled, because it looked like he would still have the chance to get the shot away if he hadn't dived. Anyway, that's been shepherded behind by Jordan Abita for a goal kick to Hibernian, but with a quarter of the game to go, the goal scorer for Hibernian, Dylan Levitt, is the man who is going to be replaced, and on, as Brian says, will come Luke Amos for a third appearance. The former Spurs youth player, left QPR in the summer and has spent a period at Easter Road, or at least at the club, before earning a deal. He's got a decent pedigree, Luke Amos, 26-year-old centre midfielder, so he'll just go in to that role where Levitt was playing, but Levitt might not have done all that much else in the game, but what a goal he scored. You'll catch that on Sports Scene this evening. Tune in for that and all the other action from tonight. 1-1 it stands with just under a quarter of the game to go. Back with David Marshall, who's made a good save in the second half from Ida just before that Hibs equaliser went in. But certainly Hibs have been a lot more spirited and impressive in this game than they have been of late. And forward they come now through Yuan. Obita in support on the left hand side on the overlap, but Yuan's gone inside Abada, then tries to reverse it to Mailida. It's a wonderful pass. Mailida onto the right foot, couple of deflections, claims for a handball, it'll go behind for a corner. As Mailida has definitely made an impact since coming on, John.
I'm liking what I'm seeing. He's at this moment in time, the skill and quality he's got, that's what Celtic could be doing, with somebody who gets the ball in and around the box, little scissors, good feet, switching it left to right, getting his shots off. He looks like he could be a good player.
Well, he's certainly got, I was talking about pedigree a moment ago. I mean, he's ex-Lyon and Nice. He's certainly got pedigree. He's on loan from Hertha Berlin, and although things haven't worked out from there, he certainly looks like he can make an impact at Hibernian as Boyle prepares to take the corner kick. Left hand side, back post ball, headed down into the 6-yard box. Miller gets a half shot away, then it comes in from Triantis, who got the initial header, and it's wide from him. And there's a Celtic player down. I think it's Ralston, is it?
Celtic are
a real panic, isn't it, in that defence?
Yep.
Yeah, they're looking really panicky. Every time the ball comes in there's nobody really taking responsibility to go and deal with it, and the ball's popped in around about the box, and anything could happen then.
Brian, Celtic changing again?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of changes. I'm still waiting to see who's coming off, but the firepower is coming on. Lewis Palma and Kyogo Furuhashi.
Thanks, Brian. 20 minutes to play. Celtic do not want to be dropping points again. Here they come, looking to get back in front. It's Maida into the penalty area. Oh, he's just overrun it. Much to the delight of the Hibs fans and the disdain of the Celtic fans behind David Marshall's goal.
I don't know what he was thinking, but also Bernabei, I don't know what he was thinking. He ran across his line.
Got in his way, didn't he?
He almost got in his way and ran across his line.
Yeah. Here are the changes. Kyogo to be introduced for Bernardo. and Luis Palma will come on to replace Dyson Maeda, I think. So Ida staying on the park, so it'll be, as you were saying back the other day, Kyogo just dropped off the front as we've got a goal at Rugby Park. Lee McCullough can tell us who scored.
Yes, finally, breakthrough, 88 minutes. Van Veen with a great header. He came on the 70th minute, great header across the back of goal, and it was Marley Watkins from about 3 yards out put it in. It's 1-0 Kilmarnock just as the game's closing.
Well, they've left it late, but those impatient Kilmarnock fans have got the goal. Can't believe they were booing their side at half-time. Derek McInnes has done an absolutely incredible job, you'd have to say, particularly this season with Kilmarnock, to take them up to the heights they were at. So it looks like they're going to see that game out, but the poor run goes on for Livingston. You have to say is beginning to look very difficult for them to stay in the top flight as Hibs win the free kick. Miller challenged there by Bernabei, deep in his own territory, and it will be a Hibs free kick. We've got just under 20 minutes to play here at Easter Road. Is it going to be a winner one way or the other, John?
Well, I think Hibs are looking dangerous anytime they get in and around Celtic's box. They're playing with confidence at the top of the pitch. Boyle's looking sharp. Malouda, who's came on, is looking sharp. I don't like to see Lewis Miller down. 6'2", and too often I come here and he's rolling about. The next thing he'll be up, running off, nothing wrong with him. Nothing more frustrating. Seeing that modern day football. Player hardly been touched.
You were never like that, John.
Never, I'm telling you, never.
No, it wasn't in my recollection either, to be fair. But it is something that has crept into the game. And not for the better, you would have to say. But
yeah. Obviously Brendan has gone and made the changes also, and Kyogo on, Palma on. You would expect those quality of players coming off the bench as Celtic could finish on a real high here and trying to get something out of this game.
Ida on the chase, but Fish there ahead of him, hooks it over his shoulder. Palma picks up. He thought he'd put his side in front early doors at Pittodrie, only to be denied by the offside flag. But he can certainly make an impression down that left-hand side. Here he is in possession now. Tries the little reverse. O'Reilly across the face of goal, away by Fish, who's defended well for the most part for Hibernian. And having lost such an early goal, they've recovered pretty well, you'd have to say, Hibernian. And still in contention to take all 3 points. I guess they would certainly take the point against Celtic as a very positive result. As far as the champions are concerned, they can't really afford to be dropping more points, not with the form Rangers have been in recently. As McGregor clips it over the top, or tries to. Miller gets the head to it from inside his penalty area. Just over a quarter of an hour to play. Bernabei has it left-hand side. Out to O'Reilly, back with Palma, about 30 yards from goal, left-hand side. Takes a big deflection off Miller. Headed further away by Newell from the edge of the box. Yuan can't keep a hold of it, but Maulida gets the break of the ball, then can't find Yuan with the pass, and here comes Celtic. It's Kyogo trying to link with Ida, but it was behind Ida, and the understanding between those two hasn't quite developed as yet. Bernabei's won it back for Celtic. Palma now comes back inside. O'Reilly for McGregor, midway inside the Hibs half. Kyogo lets it run for Ida, but again Fish is there and does well and stays composed to skip away from Palma and come forward down the right hand side, and then he just plays it down the right. He had no one to pass to, and he'd run out of ideas, but good defending in the first instance from Will Fish, you'd have to say. Still 1-1, 15 to play. Liam Scales has it at the back now with Nawrocki. Two left footers playing at the back now for Celtic in the centre, with Nawrocki taking up the right centre back position, so slightly awkward for him, I guess. Scales now just inside his own half, plays it out to the left for Palma. Early ball forwards, a good one for Bernabei, racing into the box. There's Ida with a chance, oh, he can't take it. Kyogo takes a touch and Newell gets back. And why on earth did Kyogo not bury that first time? The Kyogo of the last 2 seasons would have burst the back of the net, but Kyogo of this season, just lacking a bit of confidence perhaps, took the touch and allowed Newell to get back. Here comes Celtic again. Abada, no way through for him. O'Reilly picks up on the right hand side.
2 big chances there, one for your 2 strikers. Adam Ida miskicked, and then when it comes back, as you say, to Kyogo, he just took that touch when he could have probably tried to take it on first time, didn't know what was behind him, and then the ball was stole off him. 2 big opportunities for Celtic.
A confident Kyogo was ahead at first time, but he's lost a little bit of confidence. So what happens when you've lost confidence? You take that little extra touch.
Here's Palma. Celtic just cranking up the pressure a little bit in these latter stages. Palma wins the corner for his side over on the left. And Hibs having to do a bit more defending just in these last few minutes with the introduction of the likes of Abada and Kyogo. Certainly lots of quality on the field for the visitors. Here's the corner from Palma. It's a good one to the back post. Abada helps it back into the 6-yard box. It's cleared by Yuan. Hibs surviving by the skin of their teeth there. Pass from Bernabei's not good. Yuan picks up. Can he play in Mailida? Still he's got it, Yuan. Mailida had made a good run, but Yuan couldn't find him. And then Bernabei's fouled Boyle. And this time, who's going to go into the book? Is it Bernabei? It is indeed, for the challenge.
Yeah, that's
Johan's got to see the run of Mailida. It's an easy pass. He's got 40 yards of grass to play it into. As usual, it takes too long. Mailida will be so frustrated with him.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that's a South American free kick, isn't it? That's to be brought up with a, you know, I think that's really good. Obviously, it goes in the book because he took the player right out there.
Abada unable to keep the ball in play. It's a Hibernian throw-in quickly taken. That's Amos playing it back to Triantis, who's recovered well from conceding that early penalty. Finds Amos once more. Here he is on the left-hand side, taken out of play by Abada. It's finished Kelly 1, Livy 0. Marley Watkins with a late strike, and it's also finished at McDermott. St Johnstone 0, Hearts 1. Who else but Lawrence Shankland on the score sheet as Stephen Naismith's team came up that terrific form that they've shown of late, and no one's going to prevent them from clinching 3rd place. You wouldn't have thought this season. Still 0-0 between St Mirren and Dundee, as we've got a free kick for Hibernian here midway inside the Celtic half, left hand side, to be taken by Joe Newell. We've got just under 12 minutes left of the 90 as Newell swings the ball in. Kyogo heads it high in the air, doesn't get any real distance on the clearance, but does second time around heads it out of play on this near side for a Hibernian throw-in. Yuan will surely just leave this for Newell, who's got a decent long throw on him. Both sides will still feel that they can win this one. A point not a great deal of good for either, in all honesty. Albeit it probably feel better for Hibernian as Mailida again causes problems inside the box, but Scales is able to hack it away. Amos will go and try and just play that back to Obita inside his own half, and now it's back out with Newell. They've still got plenty forward. Can Newell pick a pass? That's a great ball, and it's a chance here. It's wide of goal. Lewis Miller rushing in from 6 yards out, couldn't hit the target. He's got to hit the target, but he couldn't. 1-1 it remains.
What a ball from Joe Newell, diagonal left to right. He's bent it in between centre halves and goalkeeper. Goalkeeper can't come. Lewis has got to be hitting the target.
He's got to hit that target because he may not ever get a better chance. Coming in at the back post from a beautiful ball. All he does is get his foot on it properly, but he knocks it by the post. Big opportunity for Hibs.
Joe Newell's left foot is, it's a cliche, but it's a wand, isn't it? And it certainly produced a bit of magic there, but Lewis Miller couldn't finish the trick, and he sent it wide. He got himself into such a good position as well, but right across the face of goal, and Joe Hart breathed a sigh of relief, no doubt. as it went wide. It's another free kick to Hibernian in a similar position to the one they had a moment ago. Taking this one short for Yuan. Yuan steps away from Abada, comes in field, approaching the penalty area. Abada's taken him out of play, and Hibs have got a free kick about 30 yards from goal, just left the centre. It's a good position, it's within striking distance. Who would be their dead ball specialist? Newell might fancy it, Yuan himself.
Yeah, it's just a couple of yards, probably too far out, I think, to be a real threat to Joe Hart. I would expect him to deal with a shot from that distance. I don't even think he's putting up a wall, is he? Is he going to put up a wall?
Yes.
It's a half-hearted wall, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little one. Oh, there it is.
Oh my God. Still a half-hearted wall, 3 in the wall.
It's Eli Yuan, the only player standing over the free kick.
4 now, it's 4 in the wall. Tony Ralston has joined in.
They'll take some strike from here to beat Joe Hart.
Certainly will. It does look like he's lining one up though.
He is, he's going to go for it.
Eli Yuan steps up, strikes it right-footed against the wall, breaks back to Yuan, out to the right-hand side for Miller. Ida goes to close him down, Miller sends it in, headed towards goal by Triantis, and Joe Hart clutches it on his line, and it remains Hibernian 1, Celtic 1 into the 82nd minute.
Well, this would be a very poor result for Celtic again. You know, to drop points here, continue to slip from Hibs' perspective. Second half, they probably could have even won this game, John, but that'll be a big boost for them.
O'Reilly has it back into the centre circle to Nawrocki, the substitute. Left to Scales and further left to Palma. Plays it down the line for Bernabei. Tries to step away from his marker, who's Joe Newell, but it's come off the Argentine and out of play. And it's a frustrating evening for Celtic.
It's a poor pass from Palma to Bernabei. Slow pass. As soon as he arrives at his feet, he's getting smashed. He's got to play it quicker, Palma. Too many touches.
Down the line it goes from Hibernian. Boyle can't make much of that. That comes off Palma and out for a throw-in to Hibernian, right hand side, just inside their own half. 7 minutes remaining of the 90. No major stoppages in the second half, but there have been plenty of substitutions, so we'll have a few minutes no doubt added on at the end as Lewis Miller takes the throw in down the line, looks to use the pace of Boyle. He might have just almost found him as Nawrocki just hooks it out of play over on that far side. Boyle almost in there. Such a threat, so quick off the mark, and Miller knew that and almost found him with the long throw-in. Miller's going to try another long throw-in into the penalty area, this time from the right hand side, about 15 yards from the corner flag, as Hibs look to move in front for the first time in the game. They've had chances, that's for sure, not least that recent chance for Miller, who throws it long. O'Reilly gets the header and then Abada helps it on. Two Hibs players getting in each other's way there, but Newell just manages to keep possession and find Amos out to the left hand side to Yuan. Yuan closed down by Ralston. He's got the better of him though. He's got goal side into the penalty area, cuts it back, chance here. Oh, Hibs players couldn't decide who was going to go for it. It's Fish, it does go for it just wide. Oh, that is so close from Will Fish. When they eventually managed to sort out who was going to take the shot on, it was Will Fish, and he almost found the bottom corner as Joe Hart watched it roll wide. And it's St Mirren 1, Dundee 0, but we'll stick with this game for just now. It's Mandron who's got the goal, but Will Fish so close there, John Collins, to put Hibs 2-1 up.
I mean, Hibs are getting bodies in the box, they're looking sharp, they're looking hungry. Celtic, there's an edginess about them. I've said it from kick-off. Anytime it's in and around their box, you don't feel secure, do you, Packy?
No, and oh, he's an opportunity. But when you look at Yuan, he picks the ball up and goes and attacks Tony Ralston, and that's what creates the opportunity. There was almost 3 players lining up to get on the end of that cutback, and that's what we were talking about from Celtic's perspective also. Not enough of that.
It was Nawrocki, as Packy was just hinting at there, almost creating the opportunity for Ida, but the ball had just too much on it and went all the way through to Marshall. Both sides still very keen to win this one as Mariah Welsh keeps it in on the right hand side but can't find a teammate with the pass, and Celtic have it at the back. Scales taking a chance against Mariah Welsh, he gets away with it. It's good play again from Scales, you'd have to say, as Bernabei then feeds it out to this right hand side. O'Reilly leaves it to Ralston, who has to scamper to keep it in on the halfway line, almost right in front of Brendan Rodgers, who's desperately keen for his side to be able to find a late winner. Scales has it on the halfway line. Hibs with everyone behind the ball for the moment. Comes forward and out to the left hand side to Palma. Palma plays it inside and gets the 1-2 of Bernabei. Palma now almost at the goal line on the left hand side, up against Boyle. Back it goes to Bernabei. Hoists it high in the air, into the box it comes. O'Reilly rises highest but can't keep the header down, and it will be a Hibernian goal kick, and it remains Hibernian 1, Celtic 1, 4 to play.
Why would Palma not try to play that in with his left foot there, John? You know, if he can't play with his left foot, play him over on the right hand side when he can get to the byline and cut it. That time the space was wide open for him to at least try it.
And you've got two strikers in there that are waiting it.
Goal kick to be taken by David Marshall, who's just been told to hurry it up by the referee, and the whistles of the visiting fans. Former Celtic keeper, of course, David Marshall, made the breakthrough with them. That famous night out in the Camp Nou in Barcelona. A long time ago that, right enough. As Newell manages to keep possession, Merlida can't go. Ralston nicks it from him, and then Nawrocki plays it forward for Kyogo. Kyogo able to run at this Hibs backline. Newell makes the despairing challenge, but still Kyogo going, eventually stopped. Good challenge by Triantis, who really has come on to a game, and now Amos doing well under pressure from Amos, but he can't find the pass for Boyle. Scales in the way, it's end to end, and either side could win it. Neither defence looks 100% as there's a slip there from Miller. Allows Palma to come forward, but his cutback is way behind everyone else, and now Yuan has lost it to Ralston. Good sliding challenge from the fullback. Now it's Abada, edge of the box is Kyogo for O'Reilly, back with Kyogo, straight into the arms of David Marshall.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's taking a throw when Kyogo, he's gone and struck that, and the tackle came in. It was a Joe Newell, I think it is, yeah, on the edge of the box, and he's gone in. He's got a shot away, but he almost took a throw in from Joe Newell. There's always like a clash, and the ball comes off both of them, goes straight into David Marshall's hands.
18,303 inside Easter Road, and have seen a really riveting game, particularly the second half, when Hibs have made a real contest of it. And there's still a couple of minutes remaining of the 90. Kyogo is, I think, told Nick Walsh that he doesn't want treatment, but he's still down holding his left shin. Eventually gets himself back to his feet. It did look like a sore one.
It was like a blocked tackle, wasn't it?
It was.
You know, and he struck it, and
then he's followed through. As he shot the ball, he's followed through and kicked, I think it was Joe Neal's foot or shin, but it was accidental. There was no malice in it from the Hibs player.
Checking a possible penalty here at Easter Road.
No, I can't see it.
No.
For the challenge there by Newell and Kyogo.
It was outside the box.
I thought it was outside, yeah, but I can't think what else it would be for.
Yeah, it's just saying possible penalty on the big screen here.
There's no more specific indication
unless
than that.
It was the cutback from Palma, the bad cutback earlier, and then Ralston that made the tackle here. It can only be from that moment when Palma looked to put it in the box. There's three Celtic players in.
Well, there's something going on. Andrew Dallas is the VAR, and Nick Walsh is coming across to have a look at the screen here, and this could be trouble for Hibernian, who conceded an early penalty. Are they about to concede a late penalty?
Has Brian got any idea?
Yeah, we're in the dark here. I don't know if Brian's got any more information than we have.
Yeah, I've had a look. There is one angle, and I'm just having a look at a second angle again. I think Joe Newell does come in, and the foot is high, and it's just inside the box, I would say. So again, I'm just looking at the side angle now. The ball's just coming out to Kyogo just now. Joe Newell comes in, he misses the ball, and yeah, I think that's going to be a penalty kick to Celtic.
Well, Andrew Dallas has also obviously advised Nick Walsh that it's worth another look, that he might have got it wrong, and Nick Walsh now is looking at the screen, and is he about to award Celtic a second penalty? Yes, he is, and Celtic are going to have the chance in injury time to win this one. It feels rough on Hibs, who put so much into the game to get back level, but ultimately, if that's the right decision, it's the right decision. And Adam Ida, having scored his first Celtic goal earlier in the game, will have a chance to win it for his new side in stoppage time. Nick Montgomery is perplexed, to say the least, out down there.
Well, there was pressure on the young man in the first penalty early in the game. This is real pressure.
Make himself a real hero with those Celtic supporters behind the goal if he bangs this in the back of the net.
David Marshall getting some instructions there from Nick Walsh about staying on his line and whatnot, as Adam Ida, who's had a couple of other chances in the game after scoring. A couple of decent saves from Marshall, from Ida. But now from 12 yards, there's 6 minutes to be added on. We're already into the second of those as Adam Ida steps up for the penalty for the second time in the evening. It's Ida against Marshall, he scores! Adam Ida with a second penalty of the night has surely won this for Celtic in injury time at Eastern Roads. 2 for Ida, 2 for Celtic, and surely they're going to move 3 points clear once again. Hibernian 1, Celtic 2.
Another terrific penalty. He's held his nerve, the young man. Popped it in the corner, nice and cool. But I would be telling those Celtic players, get back in position. This game isn't finished yet.
No, it's definitely not. And the same technique. Stood over the ball, waited for the referee to get everybody organised at the edge of the box, and then steps back, 5 steps back, straight on, goes to his left, comes up to the ball and knocks it the opposite way than the first penalty to put the goalkeeper the wrong way. Good composure from the young man.
Well, it's a sickener for Hibernian. What's absolute delight for the Celtic travelling support behind David Marshall's goal, who feel they are on the verge of a victory. Nick Montgomery having to calm one of his staff down there who are taking their protest to the fourth official too far.
Yeah, well, they'll be frustrated, of course, because they put a lot into the second half and had big chances. But obviously we're up in the stand here, we can't see how the contact was. Brian's obviously had a good look at it and seems that we've got to go with his expert view that it was a penalty.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll go with the actual official's expert view of it as well, Packy, as much as Brian. We trust his judgment on it. But both Andrew Dallas and then Nick Walsh on second viewing deciding that Newell had fouled Kyogo inside the box, and Adam Ida had the chance to score and he took it. And as a result, Celtic inside injury time here have the advantage once more. An early penalty from Ida, a late penalty from Ida.
And there's a really stupid free kick from Palmer there, given away in a really dangerous area, a critical moment in the match.
Yeah, and it's a good position here for Hibs, right hand side of the penalty area, to be taken by Martin Boyle. And Hibs have got just about everyone forward trying to get on the end of this to try and salvage a point from this game. Boyle sends it in, near post, it's headed away by McGregor and then helped on but not very far by Palmer. Back into the penalty area it will come. Fish back across goal, everyone back for Celtic. Palmer this time able to get it clear. Abada will give chase, but Obita's first to it. Falls though for Matt O'Reilly. Good pass out to Abada. Celtic looking to kill this game off. It's Abada on the counter. Newell's managed to get back and dispossess him, and Hibs have kept bodies forward. It's Miller up against Bernabe down that right hand side for Hibs. Bernabe does just enough to get it to Scales, who hammers it forward, and Palmer will chase this. Fishes there for Stoke and plays it forwards for Mariah Welsh, who played almost 5 minutes of stoppage time. 6 were announced, but there might even be more after that VAR delay, as Ralston gets his head to the through ball and Abada picks up right hand side for Celtic. Out of play, it's a poor pass from Abada, thrown to Hibernian right in the halfway line, left hand side, back to Triantis. He's closed down by the man who looks like he was going to be the match winner, Adam Ida, immediately endearing himself to the Celtic fans with 2 goals tonight from the spot, and giving them what looks like will be a crucial victory at the top of the table. And Jair Tavares has come on at some stage in the recent past, unbeknown to me, but I guess it was in the wake of that penalty going in, as Newell looking to atone for his mistake, threads it through. Tavares wasn't on his toes though. Nawrocki able to knock it out of play. Still Hibs believe into the final minute of the initial 6 allotted. On the left hand side, it's a beater back to Newell, swings it in, it's a good ball. Nawrocki gets his head to it, Palma helps it on. Kyogo looking to acrobatically clear it, but Miller picks up instead on the edge of the box. Out it goes to Boyle, beaten by Bernabei, and Bernabei just hammers it down the line. Ida will give chase, but Triantis there ahead of him, picked up by Mariah Welsh. And now Amos on the halfway line. Might have to go back to David Marshall here, he's under a bit of pressure, and he has done. Marshall back to Amos, midway inside his own half. Seconds only now surely remaining as Amos gets it to Newell, can only just hack it forward. My leader's done well though, and now it's Fish out to Tavares, left hand side. Maybe a last chance for Hibernian. Tavares into the penalty area, tries to step over, lashes it goalwards, Hart saves and clutches it inside his 6-yard box under real pressure from Martin Boyle. And surely now Celtic have the victory they so desperately desire here at Easter Road. 2-1 they lead with 7 minutes of stoppage time played. Hart preparing to launch this one long. There it is, full time. Boos from the home fans, joy from the visiting fans. The boos come because the Hibs fans feel they were hard done by the officials, but 2 penalty kicks awarded, 1 early doors and 1 in injury time, and converted by Adam Ida are the difference in the end. The equaliser was a perler from Dylan Levitt, but ultimately meaningless as Adam Ida gives Celtic what could be a highly precious victory in a game that could have gone either way. Both sides with chances to win it in the second half. Lewis Miller particularly for Hibernian after they'd gone level at 1 each, but he sent his effort wide. Celtic had other opportunities but eventually took one from the spot after Kyogo was fouled by Joe Newell. And Ida, as he had done in the first half, having been given the opportunity when Johnstone was fouled by Triantis, he kept his cool, sent David Marshall the wrong way, and that ultimately proved to be the difference between the sides. And an enthralling counter as we expected at Easter Road. It has gone the way of the league leaders. It finishes at Easter Road, Hibernian 1, Celtic 2.